don't know if I can tell. I'm gonna go on. I got my phone here, so I'm gonna go on my channel on my phone and see if it pops up as a video or not.
All right.
Let's see here. Get over to here. That way I know it's on or not. Yep, it says we're live according to this. It says there's 5 people watching, so that's pretty cool.
5 people already?
That's what it says. I'm just
going
by
there's Beatles Eternally.
Hey, Beatles, there you are. How you doing, sir?
Is. There you
In
go.
case you
Beatles
missed it
Eternally.
earlier, Robert gave you a homage to, I forgot what you used.
I'll tell him, hey, Beatles Eternally, you're always in my head while my guitar gently weeps.
There that counts. Go. Yes.
That definitely counts there, Beatles.
Definitely counts. Hey, Steve Tower, how are you, sir?
After further review with Steve Tower.
Talk about an honor. It's an honor to have Mr. Tower with us.
Another guy that got me into this crazy thing.
He, Al Wilson, and Tabletop Earl were the 3 that really got me going.
And there's Bears Den. Bears Den 007.
Hello, Bears Den. How are you doing? All right, so I asked Robert to be on here because we really haven't. Well, first of all, I wanted to talk to him because I never really got a chance to talk to him. I mean, I see him on the videos and chat, but that's not the same as face-to-face, like Zoom kind of thing. And Inside Pitch is he made that game his own because that's what he loves, and he's an expert at it. At work, when I used to work, I was called a subject matter expert because I was expert in that field. And so I consider Robert a subject matter expert on Inside Pitch. My problem is I play so many different games that I can't get settled on rules for one game. So I'll have to go back to Robert and say, okay, how'd you do this one again? How do we fix this again? There's little tweaks in there because when you play 4 or 5 different games over and over, the rules can get a little funky or whatever. So I asked Robert to be on here, and we're going to my plan is to just do an overview of Inside Pitch. And I just got a text from the missus asking me to bring Tabby upstairs with me. So, Robert, if you would like to have the floor for about a minute and just give your spin on Inside Pitch while I take care of Tabby.
Go get the cat.
Thank you.
Go get the cat.
Because we have to take care of Tabby. That's just
yes. We don't want a feline delay. Let's see what else we got there. G-Puck, Clee baseball fans, Steve Etzel, Dwayne Martz. All good to see you guys here today. It was actually a great honor to be, asked by Baseball Demos. To me, it is actually an honor to meet with him in this format. He's been doing this longer than I have, guys. So, there's the kitty cat. And, poor cat. But, it was just it's a great honor to be with him. And great honor to meet all you guys too. If I'm not doing this, I'm not meeting all you terrific guys out there. So it's nice to know that we all have a nice common denominator here in doing cards and dice baseball. Of course, Steve Tower, one of the best at it. Baseball Demos, one of the best at it. ID Jester, Al Red Sox fan, Dave Gardner. I mean, Ron Juckett. And Uncle Ron, an inspiration to everybody, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
He brings so much joy, to everyone. And
Robert, you know more about hockey than I do. Would you like to answer Mr. Gardner's question?
He has a hockey question. You know more about hockey than I do.
Is it on Inside the Crease?
I tried playing a little bit offline. Inside the Crease. I actually did get the 22-23, the 22-23 season.
The only hockey game I ever played was the hockey.
When it comes, my Uncle Dave is one of the best at it. But when it comes to hockey, nobody is if there is a Lord of the Rings, Dave Gardner is the Lord of the Rink. So that's what I gotta say. He is Lord of the Rink, and that is for sure.
Absolutely. And we talk about cards and dice all the time, but I don't want to sound like we're not giving proper credit to the guys that play games on the PC as well, because
absolutely,
they're just much of a hobbyist as we are. So it's just
that's how I started. I had some PC games. I mean, I do have on my channel. I do have some action PC baseball. I got some action PC football. I have on there, but after watching players like Al Red Sox fan and ID Jester and you, I said, you know what? I think I'd rather use the cards and dice because it's a little, besides just, we could, move around, click, 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 click on the mouse. But here, cards and dice, you roll. You got to move the cards around. You gotta go ahead and go through the things. And I do have my my demo teams already for 2016. In the
I've got my Cardinals and Cubs for tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon.
So it's
Cardinals.
It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more fun to go through the cards and see what you want to do than just say, okay, click. Let's see. Yeah, he looks good. Click and done.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the computer's a great tool because it gives me the rosters and it keeps my stats and all that stuff. But I still like to feel like I have something in my hand.
You're right.
In my hand.
Now, I do use Action PC Baseball to get my rosters for that current game. So, because to me, I found it to be, for me, it's the easiest to use because it actually lists the NAs who's not on that team and who is on. If there's no NA on him, then I know I have to go get the card from the current pack. Or if it's a traded player, if I go through the card and he's not on there, then I said, okay, he's from somewhere else. So then I'll use Baseball Reference, bring up the because Action PC Baseball brings you right to Baseball Reference when you click on a player. Okay, and I can immediately look down and said 2016. I said, oh, he was on the Indians that year. Okay, so then I can go real quick to the Indians and move him over, to the team that's on there. So he's always said he may be in a different uniform, but he is on the team for that game. So
and I'll also defer to you on Steve's reflection on Lord of the Rings because I know nothing about Lord of the Rings. I mean, I know what it is. I know Harry Potter, but that's about the closest I got. So. I don't know about the other things. So.
It's always good to have you there, Steve. I tell Steve Tower. I got to tell you, like I said, like on my Father's Day channel, just giving thanks to all you dads out there. And
hey, Mike, how you doing?
And you were also there, Steve. You were also one of the giving me the inspiration to do this because again, you review your games with absolute no bias. You look at certain things in each game and you give a true non-biased review. If you like the game, you'll say it. If you don't like the game, you'll say it. And there's not many games you hate, and yet there are some games that you like more than others. But I can tell there. But Steve, you're so knowledgeable about this too. That I mean, you're just an amazing guy too. And watching you's a lot of fun. And I wish I could play. I wish I could play the ukulele also, so I could do a seventh inning stretch.
I was gonna say Steve was uke before uke was cool.
Yep, he was uke before uke was cool. Uke was cool. Sports Time Machine.
Yes,
Utah Mike joins us here.
Bears Den, Dwayne Martz. Anybody? I forgot Steve. That's so Tim, and Tribe fan, former Tribe fan. He's still Tribe fan to me. I'm sorry, I can't get away from Tribe.
The Cleveland Baseball Club, formerly known as the Indians, now known as Guardians.
Come in, welcome. I'm not very good with the kick. I'm going to try to keep it the chat as best I can. But all right, anyway, Robert, we're going to try to get to some inside pitch because that's the whole reason for doing this.
All right.
For those that don't know, inside pitch is set up on what's called a DIPS theory, DIPS, which is Defensive Independent Pitching Statistics, which basically talks about things pitchers can control like walks, strikeouts, and home runs. How do you compare? I mean, I'm not going to compare them to other games, but what do you think of that particular method of doing the game?
Well, Voro, I actually read up a little bit on Voros McCracken, who's the one that actually who's the guy who created it. Voros McCracken, and he says that the pitcher actually only has control over a few things on every pitch: the strikeout, the walk, and the home run. Okay, the pitcher has the ability to not get the ball over the plate, and you're going to have a walk. The pitcher does have the ability to get the ball over the plate and get a strikeout. The pitcher also has the ability to put the ball right in the guy's wheelhouse, and he'll go ahead and send it out of the park. Now, of course, as you know, a pitcher's card has certain things on it. Okay, but he also says that sometimes the pitcher can make a mistake and it's an automatic single. But he says that only home runs, walks, and strikeouts is what the pitcher can control. The batter comes through with the batter controls everything else, whether he hits a grounder, hits a fly ball, a single into a double. Of course, the pitcher has no control over range plays, even though the range play is on the card. But the pitcher can't control how good the guy is out in the field. Okay, and he can't control errors, on, of course, except his own and his own ranges. Okay, but I kind of agree with that idea because yeah, the pitcher should have control over getting the ball over the plate. All right. And if he makes a mistake, then yeah, they'll go ahead. The batter's go ahead and send one out of the park. But, I actually agree with the idea. I don't know. I read up a little bit about it. And that's what Chris Davis, who is the creator of Inside Pitch, and he not only does Inside Pitch, he does them all. He does Inside the Crease, he does Inside the Paint, he does Inside Blitz, he does Inside the Cup, he does scoreboard baseball, scoreboard. Well, the man doesn't get a break.
One man show.
I would do anything to have a talk with him face to face, but he seems to, as I said, he seems to be a very private individual, and that's fine. So, although I do speak with him on occasion through emails concerning issues with, and he has any rules questions I have. But no, I agree with. I think it's a good system. What about you, there, Dave? I think it works.
I do like the system. I'm curious though, because some pitchers, and usually they're the better pitchers, have more blanks on their grid than some of the lesser pitchers, and I'm kind of curious what the thought was. Okay, if it's a blank, that means he's not in control whatsoever. But I guess the philosophy is that most of the time the batter's going to get himself out.
Right.
I mean, I'm guessing. That's just what I'm guessing. But I'm just wondering about why there's so many blanks on some of the starters.
Well, let's see here. Let me look. Let's have a look.
I know that in Mark Fisher's replay, there were tons of blanks on his card.
Let's see what we got here. Now, of course, the 2016 season doesn't have many pitchers, a lot of blanks, because, of course, if I'm, this is a contemporary year. Yep. Okay, it's not like back in the day. But let me see here. There is. Let's take the 2016 Cubs, and let me see. Like here's Kyle. I don't know how it's going to come through on my card, but here's Kyle Hendricks.
I can see some blanks.
All right, Kyle Hendricks has one blank. Okay, right about here.
Right.
Okay. So apparently on this card, Kyle Hendricks, all right, he was 16-8 in 2016 with a 2.13 ERA at 170 strikeouts. All right. But every card he has is always going to have a home run chance, three range plays, two regular range plays, and one range play at the park. Okay.
That's for every pitcher?
One for every pitcher. Every pitcher has here in this one here he has two. There's a range play here, a range play here. He has one home run chance. He did give up 15 home runs in 2016 for Kyle Hendricks. And of course they have a range play at the park. They only have one. Okay, and then sometimes it's kind of weird. He only has one range play at the park, but yet there can be times where I roll that 5 or 6 times that number.
Yeah.
6,
Absolutely.
And they'll always have, of course, the double question mark, which is for the pitcher result to here, which will either be a single or an out, okay, or a blank, and there's nothing there. And of course, the home run chance, where you first check to see if the pitcher threw a meatball, and if he did, will the batter be able to do something with it? Okay, right. But there's a lot of Ks on this card. There's a lot of walks. There's a lot of number of splits. Okay, there's a few splits, and of course they also have 2 at the parks. They always have 2 at the parks. So then you would go to the ballpark card. Okay, right. The ballpark card, and you would see that. So I think, and then of course, a typical also shows you the how many starts he had, what his batter's faced was, what his pull rating might be, and if he pitched in relief or such. He had one relief appearance, Kyle Hendricks, in 2016. So, and of course, he only pitched at 25 batters. Now, I'm telling you, Dave, I now, after playing nothing but classic and
you've been using your bullpen a lot.
Yeah, I'm now after playing with the classic seasons and legend and one legend season, 1961. Okay, I got to get used now to changing pitchers now pretty much almost every other inning because because now I'm going to be doing contemporary baseball.
Right.
I'm looking forward to this year. I look forward to every season that my subs decide to vote on when it comes to the season selection show, and I look forward to any of the seasons. But yeah, you're right though. I think that depending, of course, I mean, if you know, I mean, he had 170 strikeouts, 77 strikeouts that year. Okay, but but you can see how many Ks he has on it. All right, and
Right.
there's only one blank. And one of the guys in my chat actually mentioned about, well, he thinks maybe the pitcher should have controls over doubles and singles. I said, perhaps maybe so, but the blank is I guess is when the pitcher throws the ball, but it's just like a regular basic pitch. There's nothing there on it to
Right.
get a strikeout or a walk or a bad pitch. It's not a bad pitch. It's not a great pitch. It's a basic pitch, and the batter's just going to have his chance to go ahead and swing away with it. And what the batter does is what he does, and you know what he does. What he doesn't do is what he does. So, you know.
Let me do this. Some folks have come in. I didn't get a chance to say hello to them, so I want to say hello to Bernard Strom, Sports Replay, Jeremy Brooks, Keith Alinsky, Google OpenAI Testing, Philip Reynolds.
Okay.
And I think I got everybody. Beatles had a question, and Beatles, if you pause for that, I actually made an outline for this little session, and your question falls under outline bullet point number 2. So I'll get back to you on that one, Beatles. He was asking about the pre-1950 season, and we'll get back to that in a second. But
there is Al, Red Sox fan.
Oh, is he here now?
Oh,
there he is. Yes, he is here.
Absolutely.
His ears must have been burning, you know.
Oh, of course, of course. I'm always talking about Al because he's the best.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's the best. You know, he's just he is amazing. It is always fun to watch everything he does. That you know.
Mr. Little has joined us.
David Little and Philip Reynolds, and you know, all you guys are terrific. You know, it's all fun to watch every one.
Dave Little is kind of the master of the action PC basketball.
Yes, so I've heard. Yes, he is a basketball man.
At least in the old, you know, from like the early 70s, 60s, that's kind of what he is playing on action PC basketball.
So I've heard.
Although he's a big wrestling fan too, so you know, some of those Phil Singer games. He's doing a wrestling league there as well. So, all right. So the first point I wanted to touch on was game components.
Okay.
On Inside Pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I still had the season. I should have asked you, and I forgot to do it. But I should have asked you a couple days ago to the last when you were going to your storage or whatever to get out. Do you have any seasons that are still in the shrink wrap or haven't been separated, or
no, they are all separated.
I would really like to show one what it looks like when it arrives.
You actually, I believe you.
I did it on a 75. I think
you did on the 75 season. You showed that. But components are pretty much simple. You can get Inside Pitch in 2 ways. You can get it in PDF, or you can get it in printed. I'm such a fan of Inside Pitch that I went ahead and I purchased every single season printed. So every season that is available of Inside Pitch from 1956 to 2022, I purchased from him. Okay. I liked the game. I fell in love with the game so much that I just had to go ahead and get a copy. The regular printed seasons he has is printed on decent strength cardstock. It's 110-pound cardstock.
But it's glossy, I think. A little bit glossy.
It's a little glossy, but not much. It's pretty flat. Okay, but the colors are very vibrant. He has colors for every team. Okay, so that one would feel like for I do have my demo teams here, and of course, like for Wrigley Field. Okay, he's got, of course, blue and for the Cubs and that, and for the Cleveland Indians in 2016, he actually went red and blue this time, where mostly from the past seasons. They were the opposite. It was the opposite way.
Blue and red background.
Blue and red. Okay, He actually will change colors once in a while. The funny thing, for instance, I'll put it this way: for the New York Mets, okay, the New York Mets back in the classic Mets, okay, they have a blue top and an orange side. For the 26 for later Mets, it's now an orange top with a blue side. So. You know, so there is actually some changes to the coloring. The cards are well printed in good, very good names and so very, very, very easy to read.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and
The font is pretty good, I thought.
the font, I think the font is just fine. He uses a bold Arial font. No, I'm sorry. He uses a bold MS Sans Serif font is what he uses, because I found out because I do have a few of his PDFs, and to track down to see what he uses here, and he and they're pretty much easy to read. Every single card is different. There's not pretty much the way he does it in his matrixing. Okay, every single
Yeah.
card is
If you
different.
roll a 3-3, you could pull out 7 different players and get 7 different
And
results.
get seven different results.
It's not
Exactly.
like Apple where you roll a 66, you know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Or
Then now,
13.
as far he also has it in the PDF format, so of course you have to just print it yourself. So you can if you're doing on PDF, if you're not happy with the quality of the cards that he has, all right, you can print it out you can get a PDF, and and print it out and using any kind of paper you want to use. If you want to use
Right.
a thinner cardstock, you can. If you want to use glossy cardstock, which I've seen somebody use, which really stood out, because if you use the colors on a glossy cardstock,
Oh, yeah.
they look really bright. Okay. The only thing I found, the issue I have, if you use glossy cardstock, uh, ink from your printer may run. So I don't know how well that would if it holds, but you can get a PDF format. Uh, you do get every player in the printed set. If you get a PDF set, you get every player. Period. But if you get a printed set, you will get every player available except for players that have less than 20. I believe it was 20 at bats, and pitchers that pitch less than 15 innings. But if you need them, you go straight to the website. To his website, you find the fringe players and you download them for free. There is no need to go ahead or have them order anything. You download them for free. And if you want to go ahead, and I do have an example. So here is a player, of course, Kyle Hendricks. Okay, and this is it from the printed set. I do have a fringe player of Kyle Schwarber's World Series card, which I found very interesting. He made this, but here is a fringe player
Because he only had a
that
couple
I
of bats in the regular
that
season.
I printed out. Well, because Schwarber came up very late,
Yeah.
and the main Schwarber card he has is useless in the World Series because his batting average in the later part of 2016, he didn't hit anything. He was unbelievable in the World Series. So he actually had to make a World Series card so that he would be represented in the World Series a little better. He usually doesn't do that, but because it was so extreme difference between the World Series and his regular season stats, he did this so that you could get a full, decent, real close enough replay with the Chicago Cubs in 2016. Okay, but here is a fringe player card, and you can actually see the lines at the top where I've cut.
Yep.
Okay, but it's the same card stock. It's 110. It's 110 point.
Well, I'm not that.
Okay.
Well, I don't get that anal about the French players because they're French players. So if I cut it and a little bit of a line shows, I'm not too worried about it.
Exactly,
because they're only there for filler, and I don't see them very much.
Exactly. But since I do a full season replay as well as you do, okay, I want those French players in case they're in the lineups. So so I use the 110 pound card stock, and I have a PDF editor because I do have to get rid of the white margins around the cards. If you get the PDF, if you look at a French player PDF, you'll see the white margins. So so I have to crop them and get rid of them. And then when I print them, you got to go to 104%. When you print them, you go to 104. That should be perfect. Where, as you can see, here's Kyle Schwarber, here's Dexter Fowler, and you can tell the cards are practically identical in size. See how identical they are?
Yep, just the shade of blue is a little bit different.
The shade of blue a little different because that's my printer, but still, it was the size of the card that's more important to me. You can't tell. You really can't from a distance. You can't tell that this is a French player.
Nope.
So
and I forgot. I always forget something, and I forgot to bring the most important part I was going to bring up here, and that was the fact that you only need one board or one chart for the whole game?
Well, you got the components, which I happen to have my
Yeah,
charts. So
I have it downstairs. I meant to bring it with me, but
the
that's it.
game only,
You don't
everyone,
have 5 or 6 charts. You just got one front and back.
you have a lot of games out there to utilize charts. This chart, that chart, and of course the rare play charts, but
Right.
that's it. Okay.
Yep.
The only charts you get are these, and
Yep.
that's it. I will have a caveat on the rare plays. He has a good amount of rare plays. I am working on getting some more because I think the rare plays could be a little bit more a little
Well,
more variety.
that's part of my number 10.
You know,
Get to
I know
eventually.
okay, we'll get to that.
Yep.
But yes, but this is the only charts you need.
Yep.
That's it. And the only charts that resolve the play, okay, is the bunt chart and the squeeze bunt chart, and that is it. None of these other charts resolve the play. They tell you how the play will these charts will tell you what to do in order to unfold the play, okay, but none of these charts, except for the bunt charts, resolve a play. None of these charts here either resolve the play. The plays are resolved by the dice.
That's
okay?
right.
There is only the dice resolve the play. Okay, the player is not resolved until the dice is thrown, and that is it. So there's no chart to look up.
And I will say one thing: when I first got the game, I don't know if it was version 1 or 2 or whatever, but the version 3 rules I thought were very well done, laid out a lot more. It was just a better product. I thought it was easy for me to go through the rule book and just flow right through it, just to refresh my memory on the rules or any updated rules he had. I thought his version 3, the newest one he has, version 3, was done very, very well.
Now, his newest version 3 rules now come with a way for you. Now, not many gamers do this. First of all, his version 3 rule book, okay, is now spiral bound, okay, and pretty well written, okay, in color and all that stuff.
Yep.
All the information you need is all in there for the inside for the rule book. And of course, for people that don't have it, okay, you now get with these. Hold on a second here. He has new boards, so you now get, if you want to use this instead of your own ball field, like some people do, you get this baseball field, which will go ahead, all right, and show what happens. Actually, this is the old one. My bad.
I thought it looked familiar.
There's the old one. My bad. Here's the new one. There's the new one, okay, but it's two-sided, so you can use this one, or you can use this one, okay. But here on the field, you'll see where the information is, like how what modifications on first to third, second to home for the base running, and now you look here, you'll see away, home, and inning. There is not many people now, okay, that will not only send, if you don't want to use your own board, but you want to use this and pegs, you'll now get this, which is your score markers. So now you have. You can have all. Not many people send you a complete score marker kit, okay, to put on the board, so you don't have to buy your own scoreboard like I do. If you want to use this, okay, or you can use this one as well on that side. He now sends you numbers for scoreboard use. There's not many people that do that send out a full scoreboard for you to use.
Yep.
In his version 3, so.
Well, I think we can agree that his components are top notch.
I think we can.
I mean, the only cards themselves that are better quality are payoff pitch cards. It's the only ones.
Nobody beats payoff pitch cards. That's because Joe Bryan, spectacular guy, by the way. He uses that kind of very hard card stock, and I think that I don't know what strength that is. I think it's 180 gloss. I don't know, but he uses that card stock.
But if you were blindfolded and someone put some cards in your hand, you could tell which one was a payoff pitch card right away.
A payoff. You could easily bend this one here. You cannot. It is not easy to bend a payoff pitch card.
No, not
when
at
it
all.
comes to components, payoff pitch beats everybody.
Yep, hands down. Everybody. Yep. All right, so let's move on to number 2, and then we'll kind of go back to Beatles thing here. Maybe you can answer this. It may have to do with the dips theory. I'm not sure. where he said he had a hard time going back beyond 1956.
Yeah, he's a
Prior,
dead. He's a dead ball. Beatles eternally is a dead ball. Is a
right,
dead ball
right.
fan.
But Chris hasn't done anything but prior to 1956, and you said something about the reason was maybe because of the way he does his game system. Uh, he can't get back there that far, or the dips doesn't work with that system. I don't know. It's something with the stats or something.
Well, as far as the number of seasons goes, when I first, he has. I think I may be to blame for this. Blame for this, but number of seasons. First of all, he's got a bit. He's got a good amount right now. He's got about 50 seasons right now, from 1956 up to 2022. He is missing some seasons in the 90s and in the 2000s. He is working on them. They are coming because me personally, I'm constantly pushing him to get those seasons done. I told him, I said, he at one point, Chris went to me and said, I was thinking maybe of doing some all-time cards and like that. I said, I understand that would be nice, but I got people begging for 90 seasons. I got people begging for the early 2000s, so people can replay the Yankees Red Sox series of 2004 in Inside Pitch. Remember, you guys were begging, you guys like Philip Reynolds, Brandon Baker, Brian B. They were begging for the 1990 season so they could do the Nasty Boys for the Reds.
He came up with that. He's done that. So he's
and he actually asked me one time. I told him, I said, he sent me an email, said, Robert, I can do one season right now, 1957 or 1990. He actually asked me, so which one should I do? I said, as much as I wanted 1957 done because it plugged that hole between 56 and 58, because I'm OCD, so I don't like seeing holes. All right, but I told him that 1990 would be more well received, and it was. So so he has a lot of great seasons available from 1956 and higher, and the latest seasons he just did was 1991 and 1999. I know he's working on the rest of the 90s right now before he finishes the 2000s. Now, to answer Beatles Eternally's big question, why hasn't he done anything behind? There were a number of reasons that he said. First of all, pitch by pitch information is what he uses from Retro Sheet to get his statistics. Okay, it's not readily available all the time for some of the earlier seasons, because at that time they really didn't keep all the pitch by pitch information back during the dead ball era. Okay, a lot of statistics that are here now were never existed back then. Okay, WAR, FIP, that BAPIP, those systems, they really didn't exist back then. They didn't use it. All it was back in the 1900s and 1910s was, here's the ball, see if you can hit it. Yeah. Oh, it's a single, it's a double. Do you really think let me ask you, do you really think Babe Ruth cared about launch angle? He didn't have to worry about launch angle. Wherever he swung the bat, the ball went out. It went out on its own. Okay, I don't think he cared about launch angle. Hank Aaron didn't care about launch angle. Okay,
velocity off the bat.
Velocity off the bat. Okay, it's the science of baseball now is so different compared to what it was. So the thing about it, Beatles, is right now he's having some issues getting dead ball information. I mean, I did notify him. I did tell him, I said, there are a number of seasons that there are people that would love to see an inside pitch. I noticed, I gave him like a short list, like 1908, which is a very, very popular season. 1919 with the Black Sox. 1927, of course, with Murderers Row. 1921, when Babe Ruth really became in his thing there. 1924 with the Senators. 1940 was it 1954? Even I know he would like to get the 50s done. I do know he wants to go back because he's at 1956, and I know he would like to go back to the 50s and finish them off as well. So we can go from 1950 to 2000, wherever we're at right now. But
I would like to see 41 myself.
Yeah, 1941. I did mention 1941. I did. Okay. What was it? 1951 with the shot heard round the world. Yep. By Bobby Thompson. I mean, there were I mentioned he probably will do the 50s, but right now I kind of pushed him. I'd rather see 90s and 2000s because right now we're alive, and we were not alive when those seasons were being played. So I'd rather right now play seasons that of players that I actually watched growing up. Okay,
Yep.
although I did play 1961, just did the 61 season replay a couple of already 2 seasons ago, and it was fun to play. I mean, it wasn't. I was born in '69, so I mean, I wasn't around to see Koufax pitch or Mickey Mantle smack the ball. Mickey Mantle or Al Kaline. I wasn't around yet, but it was a lot of fun to play that season because I learned more about those ball players, than I ever did. Just reading about it was actually play the season, but. Yeah, that's one of the main issues he has, and he's trying to maybe he can find a workaround, but I don't think he's gonna. And he says it may make it a pet project, but right now he wants to finish the '90s and the 2000s before he goes any further back than '56.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully, Beatles, that answered your question. Move on to the next topic of community/forums. I know the Delphi forums and whatnot has a good presence in Inside Pitch, and the community itself, the YouTube community and whatnot, Facebook community, so forth. Can you mention maybe something along those lines? So your experience so far with the community.
The Delphi
Inside Pitch community, I'm saying.
The Inside Pitch community and the Delphi forums is exceptional. We always got people asking questions. And if you have a rules question, usually someone will usually gets back to you very quickly. If it's a real rule question, I mean, I can answer certain questions, but if it's a rules question that may be a little bit kind of iffy, I'll let Chris himself answer the question.
He's very good at answering those questions too.
That's why we have to go, and that's why, in a way, the third part, community, and your fourth part, your
customer service.
Customer service.
Yeah,
I got to combine these two, community and customer service.
No problem with that at all.
We got to combine these two, and the reason why we do this, customer service, okay, and community. If you have an issue with any of the cards or like a problem, like for instance,
like I had didn't have Jerry Park.
He didn't have Jerry Park, okay. Which, believe it or not, he sent me another one. Okay, I don't know why he did by accident, but he did. So he sent me another Jerry Park. Okay, I already have one in my 1975 season, in storage. But the thing about it, I'm actually the one that kind of gets on his cases when it comes to the ballpark names, and it's not his fault. He uses Retro Sheet to get his ballpark names, and Retro Sheet is behind in some of them. I actually sent an email to Tom Tresh, who creates Retro Sheet, and I said, hey, look, here are some ballpark names that you need to fix, specifically the Oakland ballpark.
Right, that thing's changed names so many times.
So I told him, I said, it's Oco Coliseum. Here it's Overstock.com. Here it's back to Alameda County Coliseum. Here it's Ring Central Coliseum. And I had to mention that, and he said, no problem, I'll fix it.
Right.
So, and I always mention it, of course, when a new season's been released, to go ahead and get that done. He has many a times, he'll go ahead and he'll, send me, like, for instance, he sent me duplicates of he'll send me duplicates of cards, but like here, like for instance, for those people who have, a 2007 or 2008 season in Oakland Coliseum, it's going to say Oakland Coliseum. It should be McAfee. So I know this is just a duplicate. He sent me 2 sets, but by accident. But either way, if there's an issue with colors, let them know. If there's an issue, like if you happen to find a card that's maybe missing a rating, which is unfortunately common, but that's because some of the ratings that like, for instance, let's say he played in the outfield 162 games, but he only played 1 time in left field, and the other times were in center field or in right field. Okay, so if you really need him to get a rating for that, he'll go ahead and do that. If it's a mistake if it's a printed card, he'll send you another printed card. If it's a PDF, he'll just create the PDF and just send that to you as well. I've seen customer service from APA, Stratomatic. Well, does Stratomatic have customer service? Does APA have it too? I don't know. Either way, but no. When it comes to customer service, the 2 top customer service guys are Chris Davis from Inside Pitch and Joe Bryan from Payoff Pitch. Okay, these guys care about making sure that you're handled in any situation. When it comes to, okay, card construction, not ratings or things like that, or any other caveats you may have, but when it comes to the actual card construction, okay, he will take care of it. One, like for instance, Larry Lintz, Larry Lintz from the
From Oakland A's. Yeah.
Oakland Athletics, right? He never had a card for him when I was doing the 19.
Is he the one that like pitch ran all the time or something?
Yep, all he did was pitch run. He never had an at bat, not once. And because he didn't have an at bat, all right, because he never had an at bat is one of the reasons why he didn't card him, because it has to be at least a certain amount of at bats for him to be carded. But actually, I went to him. I said, "You need to card this guy because he's used as a pinch runner a lot." And he actually created a PDF, which I thought was fine. He didn't need a printed card because he never had an at bat. So he created a PDF, downloaded it, printed it, and that was good. So if you find a player that's missing, let him know. Okay. Find out, of course, maybe if you on your check, find out maybe how many at bats he had or how many innings pitched he had. If it's only one inning pitched, he has not printed those cards. If it's one inning, that's it. He usually doesn't print that player out for a pitcher, and I kind of understand.
I can understand that. I mean, that's so minimal.
That's a nitpick, and but other than that, you get everybody else. Okay, if he started, he'll definitely be printed. Okay, unlike some other companies out there that don't print everybody, but we won't mention names.
No.
You
may be able to answer this question for I'm not sure how to pronounce it. TSU. Scooney. I don't play the PC game anymore, so I don't. And when I did a long time ago, I can never.
Take care, Al. It's always a pleasure to have you here, my good man.
Care, Al.
Always a pleasure, an honor as always.
Even when I was playing it back then, I could never get the photos to do the correct way. So I'm definitely not an expert on how to get photos into the PC game for inside pitch. That's something I'm not familiar with. I don't know. It sounds like maybe he put something on the forums, perhaps. He said still waiting for a reply. I don't know if that meant he went into the forums.
I think I saw him. I think I saw the questions about the work on the PC about photos. If I'm right, I think the way the photos work for the inside pitch game is the same way they work for action. I think they do.
That'd be a naming convention or something, or
I think it's a naming convention. The naming convention is what it is. Okay. I do have the action PC. I know I have the inside pitch computer game, right? But I've never put the photos in there. I put the logos in there, but I didn't put the photos in it because I wasn't intending to use that as a replay setup.
Did you have any problem with the logos?
No, I had no problem with the logos. They just, I think, basic JPEGs. Okay. But I had no problem with the logos. But I was never intending to use the inside pitch. I use that as practice. That's my. I practice with that when I was learning the base running and all that. I use that to practice, or if I just want to get a quick inside pitch fix, and not bring out my cards and dice. But
and Steve, to answer your question, Bill Bates is carded for the 1990 Mets.
He is,
but he's in the extra players.
Right, he'll be in the fringe. All you gotta do is download it, print them out, and you have it.
Because I got the 90 set in PDF, and he's on there, so I know he's on there. So, Doug had a question for you, specifically aimed at you, Robert, about the rule changes for next year. Will Chris do anything with the game to?
You're talking about like the pitch clock violation rules, the pitch clock rules, and the. I really don't think he doesn't have to.
You can. But
I don't think he has to do anything. A pitch clock. I don't think he's going to put pitch clock violations. I mean, if I will say that even if a pitch clock for instance, a pitch clock violation that results in a strikeout or a walk is still listed as a strikeout or a walk. Yeah. Okay, so if it's, I believe, I don't know what the scoring measure is. We know a K for a swinging strike is a K, and we know a seeing strike is a backwards K. Right. I think the strikeout for a pitch clock violation, I think is a K, but with a P or a C next to it or something like that. Strikeout with a C saying this is a strikeout due to a clock violation, possibly. That's just going to be added into his strikeouts. I don't think he has to add anything to it.
I haven't I haven't bought any of the new seasons on PC lately, so I don't know if the PC has been updated to have the Ghost Runner and all that stuff. I don't know if
The
you've done.
PC version does. Action PC Baseball does have the Ghost Runner.
I mean, I'm talking about Inside Pitch.
Well, inside pitch. I don't
Like if
have.
you bought the
I don't
2000.
have every season though for the inside pitch
I don't
PC.
either. That's why the
I
last
don't
one I
have-
bought was 17. So I don't know.
Right. I don't have the inside pitch seasons for PC, only for printed.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm pretty sure that rule is probably put in there somewhere.
I'm sure he's done because everybody else has done it, so he's had to have done it.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
Me
He did a
personally,
patch and he probably did something,
for the Ghost Runner rule. Me personally, now that the Ghost Runner is no longer temporary, it's now permanent. I'm now going to institute it into my games. So even though they didn't use it back then, I've already made decisions that because I've had games go to 17, 18 innings, and I'll be honest with you, they are exhausting when I get games like that. But there is a special. But I will not. But my rule is now for the Ghost Runners that if I go to a 10th inning, the Ghost Runner does not. I will only use Ghost Runners if I have to bring in a starting pitcher in relief. Right. So if he has, if he's like for instance, Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks has 30 starts but only one relief appearance. I consider him a starter. Right. Okay, even though he has that one relief appearance. All right, if he's not a starting pitcher, but I have to bring him in because I've used all my pitchers, I will then use the Ghost Runner in the next full inning if the game doesn't end in that inning that he's brought in. So if I bring him in if I have to bring him in the top of the 12th inning or something like that, the 13th inning would start. I would put a Ghost Runner on second, even though it's a 2016 season, even though they didn't use it, even if it's in the 1956 season. I'm going to start instituting that rule. These games are fun and exciting, but I'll tell you though, those 17 and 18 inning games are murder. Especially when I have to go to work the next day. My games can last 2.5 hours. I mean, no. So, but that's my rule going to be my rule for Ghost Runners. I don't think he's going to as far as balks. I'm sure the balks will be baked into the regular balk ratings that he already has for his pitchers and such, and stolen bases as well. So his 2023, I don't think he has to change much.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he has to. So the 2023 cards should be just fine. If anything, I mean, he doesn't have to make as many cards because now pitchers don't bat anymore.
That's right. You don't need pitcher hitting cards at all.
The 2021 season is the last season he does, all right, at least contemporary season, where the pitcher bats. 2022 and later, nope. He no longer has to do that. Now, of course, when he does past seasons still, like the 90s and the 2000s and 50s, of course, he'll have pitcher batting cards. But,
And the one nice little thing, too, is that when a pitcher has his own batting card, there's like a little pound sign on his pitcher card that tells you he has a batting card.
Now, of course, for some of you that love the designated hitter era, but do not have, but doesn't make card pitcher, for the World Series. Well, the pitchers bat in the World Series, but they didn't bat through the regular year. So what I did is I created, this was my personal creation with a little help from someone else. I forget who it was, but I created generic pitcher hitting cards, specifically designed for pitchers for the DH era. So you don't have to use a card from some other team. You can have a generic hitting card, and all you need to do is just find go through the pitcher's hitting ability or his hitting average, and then you find the average that he was and create a card. I did upload these to the Universal Baseball Lounge, okay, and of course they are customizable the way you want it. That's why this is just me.
It doesn't mean that's something I did have to use when I was playing the 75 World Series.
Exactly. So
I actually pulled a 1969 Red Sox pitcher hitting card to use for the 75.
Right. So I went it. So you can just download them. If they're actually in Excel format, so they should work on Excel or LibreOffice, which is what I really use. And just if you want to change them, make a few changes to the card, go right ahead. It's just something because a lot of people were asking me for those things when I was doing it. But back to community. The community is great. We have a good community of inside pitch people. They're constantly asking questions. A lot of people showing replays. I got a guy doing a 1980 replay, a 1964 replay. People asking questions, and of course, Chris gets back to them very quickly, unless somebody else goes ahead and gives a good right answer. I had one guy ask, one guy actually asked about fast action cards for inside pitch, and
that's weird. I never thought about that.
No, you thought about fast action cards, and I actually answered him, and I said it's kind of redundant because inside pitch, okay, because the base running mechanics are what they are in inside pitch, and it's the only game that I can find that utilizes base running mechanics like that, where it takes 3 numbers to find out if the guy makes it to the next base. Fast action cards are redundant because if you go ahead, okay, so I got a guy that's base running rating of a 1, okay, with an out, and the ball is hit the left field, okay, so the left fielder has an arm rating of -1. Well, there's no way that runner on first is going to get the third.
Right.
But let's say you flip the card and it said he gets the third. That completely broke the mechanic.
Yep.
And that's why fast action cards are total, in my opinion, make no sense for inside pitch. So I always tell people, you get the helper, the base running, the base running helper card that I got here, that I
use it. I use it. It works well.
It works well. It's a quicker way. Instead of adding everything, you just look. Okay, the ball hit the left field, -1.
It takes like a minute and a half to set it up before the game starts, and then you're all done.
And you're all done, and that's it.
The only thing you have to do is when you make defensive changes, you have to remember to edit it.
That's all. But I use like I said, dry erase markers, and you just get it right in there. And of
I
course,
actually use a baseball card penny sleeve over mine.
And I have this, which makes it even easier. This is just the chart. So here's left field, and so I found the player's got a +1 arm. So then I just write in the chart -1, +2, 0, and that's it. Just create one of these.
Yep.
Just create one of these and just get the right. All you gotta do is get the outfielder arm and then just write it in the thing. You don't have to worry about adding anything up. It's already there for you.
Well, Mr. Gardner, I can assure you that Mr. RJL does not have any PDFs for inside pitch. I'm the PDF person because I'm cheap, but I have about 4 or 5 PDFs. And there was like at the Black Friday or whatever, one of his sales, you could buy 2 and get 1 free, or it was something like that. So I took advantage of all those. But I also bought the 75 PDF and then went around and bought the printed set. So
Now, before we move on to the next point, there's one more thing about customer service I should mention. Before he went to version 3, Chris Davis actually did something that not many gaming companies do. He was asking for suggestions on what to add, what to subtract to his version 3 rules. He said version 3 is going to be his final edition. I know he said that. I have a funny feeling there might be a 3.5 coming in the future because there are a few things extra he may need to do. But until then, version 3 is what it is. Okay, and then of course anything else you house rule it. But he actually asked us questions. He said, "What do you think about this? What about this? What about this modification?" Well, in the version 2 rules, okay, in range play in what is it? Error checks on fly balls. The fly ball to the outfield is an error if it's under the outfielder's error rating and if it's an odd number. He did not have that for pop flies on the infield. So right. I mentioned that to him. And what did he do? He went ahead and said he added that rule in there, drops fly odd. So he took my idea for that. He also took an idea from I think Rick Query, I think also gave him an idea as well concerning errors and double play modifications and such. So when you have a game creator that asks you, okay, what things you'd like to see in the next rule set, then of course he has final say. It's his game. This is his baby. He gave birth to it. He can raise it the way he wants. Okay, it's up to us if we want to play it. Okay, right. But he listened to me. He listened to Rick. I think he listened to a couple other to Jim Doyle. I think he listened to as well. I think he actually listened to you. I think on something. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not. I think it had to do maybe with grounders or something. But whatever it was, he listened to us and he created, the new rules for it. So how can you knock somebody that actually asked his customers, what do you want? And he gave it to you. If it worked due to the mechanics, if his game worked with the mechanics, then he felt it was good. You say, you know what? This makes sense. I'll put it in the game. And that's what he did. So you can't knock a guy that asks you what you would like to see.
Right.
In a cards and dice game. Computers is something else. I mean, all the computer companies always ask their people, what do we want to see here? What do you want to see here in computers? But cards and dice, I think, is a little different, because since it's the dice that runs the game, you got to make sure your engine will work with the dice. And so what customer service, he takes suggestions.
Yeah,
that's great.
All right. I'm going to move on to the next little bullet that I had here. Pitcher-batter interactions. We talked about it a little bit with the dip system, but one of my observations too, and I don't want to knock another game company, but I have to use it for comparison, and that's Stratomatic, which is a 50-50 game. So if I wanted to play a Ted Williams season or a Tony Gwynn season, they only struck out maybe 20 times all year. Well, on Stratomatic, if I hit the pitcher card, he's going to strike out probably 60 times a year. Inside pitch, I can hit the strikeout card on a pitcher, even the strikeout plus card, but their ratings are going to be so low, it's going to protect them from striking out, which is something I really, really like.
The pitcher batter, in my opinion, there's only a few games that have a very good pitcher batter interface. Inside pitch, definitely. And since we're talking,
payoff pitch too, in my opinion, is another.
That's the second one. That's the second one, of course. To me, a game, there are some games out there that, of course, use just the batter card, and abstracts pitching, which I don't know how you can abstract the number one fundamental of baseball, which is pitching. Okay. All right. There are some games, like you said, the 50-50. I could put Sandy Koufax against Ted Williams, against Tony Gwynn, all right, and Tony Gwynn, who rarely struck out. I mean, Greg Maddux, I think he only struck out 3 times against Maddux, Smoltz, and Glavine. I think Tony Gwynn. I mean, Greg Maddux said, "I can get everybody out except Tony bleeping Gwynn." Yeah. Okay, I know Tony Gwynn murdered him. All right, and of course, if anyone doesn't believe that Tony Gwynn is not one of the greatest of all time, you guys know nothing about baseball. But the pitcher, it starts with the pitcher. So like I said, you start on the pitcher card, like Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks gets first dibs. Does he does he have a good chance at a strikeout? Does he hit an automatic? Does he get an automatic out? Usually when an automatic out comes up, that tells you that the pitcher was in complete control of the at bat and got the batter out, whether it's a grounder or a fly out. The one thing I do like about inside pitch as well is that you can look from a card and you can tell what kind of a pitcher he was. So like Hendricks, he's got 4 grounders and 2 flyouts. So you know that he was more of a grounder pitcher than he was a flyout pitcher. And so now of course. And of course, Kyle Hendricks had a number of strikeouts. But if he didn't strike the batter out, then of course the batter gets his chance to swing. The same thing, like you said, with payoff pitch, Dave. Payoff pitch, the same thing. It starts with the bat, starts with the strike, the pitcher card, pitch, in play, tough, wheelhouse, defense, patient, and then it goes right to the batter card.
Yep. The inside pitch. There's only 2 instances where the batter does not come into play.
Right.
One is the double asterisk, and the other is ballpark results.
And the ballpark results. The
ballpark has to go to the ballpark instead of his own card. Other than that, he's always involved.
He's always involved.
And even on the ballpark, you have to a lot of times reference. If it's a home run or something,
you have to reference the batter.
His card.
You have to reference the batter. You still have to check to see if it's a home run. So, like here in Wrigley Field. For 2016, you could see the home run chance on that is 8-16 at Wrigley Field. But you still have to check the batter.
But if you got Dwayne Kuiper up there and never hits a home run,
never hits a home run. Okay, and then you got here's Dexter Fowler. He hit he has a 7 against right-handed pitchers. He still has to hit the ball out. So just because the ballpark says it's a home run, it doesn't automatically state that it is a home run.
That was something else I was going to ask you about. You may not, you probably don't know the answers because it's his game and it's his mind or whatever. But I always thought it was interesting that a failed home run on the pitcher card, the batter still gets to swing.
Right.
Failed home run on the ballpark card, he's out.
Right.
Why wouldn't you go back to the batter card on a failed?
I would think because it uses.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's all.
No. I that's actually a good question. I'm thinking that the ballpark, each ballpark, as you know, has its own nuances. Okay, yeah. Like Fenway Park is very different from Citi Field. Okay, yeah. or Dodger Stadium, or yeah. Wrigley Field is very different from Three Rivers Stadium or Riverfront Stadium. Every baseball stadium is different, and I think, and of course, he gets the ball when he goes to the ballpark card. Okay, he gives the ballpark. It's not really. It's the ballpark yielded a certain type of average. Like for instance, in 2016, Wrigley Field did 3.93 runs a game. It was a 242 batting average at Wrigley Field for 2016. The slugging percentage at Wrigley was 376, and only 132 home runs were hit there. And that's why he has 2 home runs on the matrix plus an 816 up here. Of course, ballparks that hit. Now, if we go take a look at Progressive Field in 2016 for the Cleveland Indians, okay, the runs there were much higher, 493 runs per game, to a 66 batting average, a 444 slugging percentage, and 201 home runs, where he actually has 4 matrices on the ballpark, okay, and 11 through 20 at the top. And of course, the ballparks have that modifier, that +2, 0, and 0 here, for strikeouts and such. I think one of the reasons why he puts that in there is to also help the accuracy a little bit as well, okay, to help the statistical accuracy. If a guy, so maybe there were more strikeouts at this ballpark than were at other ballparks for that team, possibly. So, and of course, home runs, like, well, the Astrodome, you could barely hit the ball out. I mean, I think I have an Astrodome from the 60s or something like that. I think it was a -3, a home run. And then you have Camden Yards, which I think had one time at a +2 because they were launching balls out of there before the Orioles raised the fences a bit last year. And now all of a sudden Camden Yards is now more neutral than it's ever been before. And one of the reasons why I think the Orioles are actually doing a lot better.
I think they moved the fences back, didn't they?
Yeah, they moved the fences. They moved the fences back and up and raised them. So, all
right, DJ, have a good.
Thank you for joining us, DJ John. Quadruple 4. Good to see you, my friend.
Quadruple 4.
But I think the pitcher-batter interface and inside pitches, I think is, like I said, it's one of the best. There are not many gaming companies that utilize the pitcher and the batter. Fall Classic uses the pitcher and the batter, but the batter card is rolled first on the batter card, and then you go to the pitcher card if the batter card is a blank. So it's kind of reversed.
So if you roll doubles on that and he gets a hit, the pitcher never gets involved.
The pitcher never gets involved. Okay, again, like on Fall Classic, you see 66 home run. Okay, fine. So if Greg Maddux is up there, who rarely gave up home runs, okay, 66 home run.
Yeah.
There's no modifier on Greg Maddux's card where you subtract a home run or something like that. It's only off the pitch. On his card, it is.
And even if he has his A stuff, that's still not going to.
It's still not going to cut it. And then of course you have APA where 1166 is automatic home run, and you got pitchers grade A, B, C, or D. That's why one thing about APA, I'm not going to knock APA because I know APA Brian. I love watching him play it because I think nobody plays APA better than him. And he's a master APA player. I think the only way to play APA is the master game. I just can't see basic. Basic to me is just abstract.
The only time I play it is I use the Merino boards.
The Merino boards are the master game.
The master game is a little bit more
where cooking actually matters. A grade A 1963 Sandy Koufax, I'm sorry, is not the same thing as a grade A Jacob deGrom in 2015. No. No. But I think for pitcher batter interface, I think that's really the only. I think, now of course, well, that's next is game flow. But pitcher, batter, and face, I think inside pitch has one of the best.
Actually, next was player ratings, but all these kind of mesh together as it is. But I know sometimes we've looked at some player ratings on some of their cards, like defensive ratings, and kind of shook our head or scratched our head, like, how did he get to be so? Why is Don Mattingly a 1? When five's the best and one's the worst. Why is Don Mattingly a 1?
I guess we got to go to one of the caveats of the game, the player ratings. Or in this case,
that's for every game. I mean, every game's
statistical accuracy.
Yeah.
I've had people say they played full season with inside pitch, and they showed on the forums the difference between their things and what are actual. They're still very close. Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have it on mine, but the Washington Nationals replayed the last. In my playlist for the Washington Nationals, the very last video is a recap where I go player by player and show all the stats and steal, so that I don't want to get ahead of myself, but to kind of say about the strategy role, how that does give enough steal attempts throughout the year. I mean, it averages all out. So, I mean, accuracy. For me, when I did that one time, I thought it was pretty accurate. Now, individual games, you may have some off the wall games like how this happened, but over the course of time, to me, I was never worried about statistical accuracy with this game.
No, statistical accuracy. I mean, look, every game engine is created a different way. The game engine from payoff pitch is different to inside pitch that Joe Bryan and they use. Stratomatic uses a different game engine. Fall Classic uses a different game engine. Of course, APA uses a different game engine. Deep Drive uses a different game engine. Clay Dreslock's Season Ticket Baseball uses a different game engine. History Maker Baseball uses a different game engine. Okay, they're all different, but they all work around with themselves in order to create good statistical accuracy. All right,
and even like you said with the History Maker, I replayed the '87 Atlanta Braves, and those stats came up fairly good.
Fairly good. Okay.
If I showed you those stats, you thought I played Stratomatic. I mean, they were that close.
Exactly. See, and everyone.
Many ways to skin a cat. I won't let Tabby hear that, but many ways to skin a cat.
Don't. Sorry, Tabby. He didn't mean it. You may find a few scratches on your leg
Probably will.
Don't mess with Tabby. Remember, dogs have owners, cats have staff.
There you go.
She owns you. You don't own her. But
I found that out a long time ago.
I'm pretty sure you have. Okay. But the thing is that with statistical accuracy, I mean, we would like to see a lot of accuracy. We would do it. Okay, yes. We don't want a batter that only hit 5 home runs, hit 50 of them. Now we know if that happens, there's a prop. The engine was not created right, or the card was mistaken, or something like that.
Or if you play Clayton Kershaw and he has a 7.81 ERA at the end of the year, something's wrong.
Dave Little brings up a good point. In any statistical simulation, there will be 5% of players who underperform and 5% who overperform, ditto for the teams. I actually think 5% might be a little too low. I think maybe somewhere between 5 and 10% is probably more what I would get. But you know what? If it's within 10%, fine. Okay, so he hit 30 home runs, but instead, right in real life, but he hit 33 in the game. Okay, he only hit 30 home runs, but he hit 27. Fine. I have no issue with that. Okay, the ratings he uses, I know is for games that he's been utilizing this rating system because he uses 1980 as his base year. I have asked him if he was thinking of maybe changing that, but I think he said that 1980 he feels was really the one season where baseball really became modernized at that time. Okay, in the 1980s. I still think I think modern baseball really starts in the 90s, okay, and contemporary baseball is now from 2011 and up. But anything, but I think he felt that was where modern baseball really began, 1980, when they went, because remember in 1980 that's when they started using in the 1970s, and now they went to 4-man rotation, and now in the 80s they now went to the 5-man rotation now. Because in the 70s, you still had 4-man. Some teams that were utilizing 4-man rotations. And one of the mistakes I made in the 1961 postseason I was using 4-man rotations in the 61 postseason. I should have only been using 3.
Right.
And that would have made a big difference in how my postseason would have went. But that was my mistake. I know if I do any seasons from 1969 and behind, I know it will be only a 3-man rotation in the postseason. It will not be 4 anymore. That was my bad, because when I looked, I said I was looking at the 1961 replay for World Series, and I said, wait a minute, Whitey Ford pitched twice, and I'm saying, and I only pitched once. I said to myself, oh, because that's why they use 3-man rotations in the postseason. They didn't use 4 yet, and that's why. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the Milwaukee Braves won my 1961 World Series. Instead of the Yankees or the Tigers or anybody else from that. That was my fault. But I take full responsibility of that. That's my bad. But I learned. I learned.
And I will say that I watch a lot of video. Pretty much anybody in the community puts out a video, I will check it out and watch it. But there are a few videos that I do watch over and over and over. And Mr. Little had one of them. Since he's there close by, I wanted to mention that. I go back and watch. I have such enjoyment watching that one video where he responded to ID Jester about Stratomatic, and he talked about the cup of coffee and why Strat does their practices the way that I really just thought he did a wonderful job with that. He was not confrontational with IDJ. He was just saying, "Here it is, brother. This is why Strat does what it does," and whatever. It's an aside, but I just had to mention that.
Well, Tony Porter Tony Porter and Cards and Dice TV, Cards and Dice, who is he knows his stuff too, and he's right now a big Fall Classic fan. He loves APA. He still loves Deep Drive baseball, and they're great games. But he does mention, but the one thing he does mention about APA and Stratomatic, those games were made during the Cold War. Those are Cold War games made with Cold War rules that they've never changed. Now games like Fall Classic or Inside Pitch, Payoff Pitch now have access to information that Stratomatic and APA didn't have back in those times in order to really get a good game flow going. The one thing about Stratomatic I do like is, of course, is the way they do their splits, lefties and righties, and they probably have the best. They do have the best split format, and there's nobody that beats them when it comes to splits. They really against, but you have to play the at least advanced, because splits don't come into effect in the basic at all.
Right.
But one thing about Strat, they have the best split ratings. That's for sure. I can't knock them that. But but they were doing that for many years. But they've never really changed. Now they haven't changed anything about. Remember, now they're coming out with remastered seasons. Like, remember, I have the 1986 Stratomatic game that I purchased because I said I would only purchase a copy of Stratomatic if they redo the 86 season. They did. But I got a question for Stratomatic, if anybody's listening from them. Why is it the Boston Red Sox are seriously underperforming in that season? For some reason,
that's happened in several game engines, not just Strata.
I don't know what's up with the 86 Boston, but that team was good. Yeah. And every simulation I'm seeing, they just fall apart. They're off. The Mets are doing fine.
Particularly Roger Clemens. We can't get his 24-4 season.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Now, I don't know how Inside Pitch would do it. If I was to do an 86 Red Sox replay with Inside Pitch, I don't know how that would do it.
Well, it might come up one of your seasons eventually. So
maybe one of my seasons. I'm for 86 one day, but I like doing overall seasons. I have more fun doing it that way. Getting all the players on the board, getting all the teams on the board. The way it's just that. But yes, Dave Little's right. Strat and APA are the reason all the other great games exist today. He's 100% correct.
I'm sure Chris played those games when he was little, and
I'm sure he did.
Took inspiration from it and said, "Okay, how can I improve this?"
Yeah, Dwayne is right. Stratomatic can't be bad around all these years. 100% correct. Yeah. But there are improvements, and of course, you still have house rules for. You had people created house rules for APA, the Merino boards. Okay. Yeah. People have house rules for Stratomatic because there's certain things. People have house rules for Inside Pitch. I have house rules Inside Pitch. Okay, for what I think for realism. Some just play rules as written. That's fine too. you just want to play it raw, that's fine too. Okay. Um, I just feel, to me, I just think that the way the accuracy for, and the one thing about inside pitch too, if you're not happy about a certain rating, if you feel that, well, let's see, Kyle Hendricks here, his rating is a 5 on the mound. If you really think he was that bad, then just go ahead, take a pen and go and just turn it into a 4 or a 3 and just do that.
But do that with a PDF, not with a
do it with a PDF. I wouldn't do it with a printed card. Or what you can do is, if you got a printed card, go ahead and reprint the card, but change it in a PDF editor before you do it, and there you go. Okay, there you go. You can do that. All right. I mean, I can take any one of these cards, make a copy, scan it in PDF on my printer, and then go to my PDF editor and say, okay, yeah, Don Mattingly had a 2 in 85. It should be at least a 4. So I'll change it to a 4 and then reprint the card. I mean, it won't look as perfect as the printed one, but it's good enough. Yep. So you can always change these things if you want.
But I'm just curious where he gets his range ratings from. Does he go to Baseball Reference and look at some range factor that's on there?
Or he gets all his information from Retro Sheet. He doesn't. I do not think he uses Baseball Reference at all. I think Retro Sheet, because he has to get the pitch by pitch stuff from Retro Sheet, and they're the only people that do it that way.
Okay.
Lower Slower Board Gamer joins us here.
How about that?
Brother, your Memoir 44 stuff is awesome. I'm watching your Memoir 44 stuff. You almost made me go to my storage unit and get all my Memoir 44 junk back in my house. You almost made me do that. Okay? Your Memoir 44 stuff is great, brother. Keep on making those. Keep on making it. Please do it. That is great stuff, brother. That is great stuff.
And I still call him Stratomatic Delaware.
Stratomatic Delaware.
I'm just so I get used to
your Memoir 44. I mean, I tell you, I have them all. I've got all the Memoir. I got 2 boxes of each. The only thing I don't have is the D-Day stuff, but I'm actually considering getting some of that. But just keep on putting out your Memoir 44 stuff there. Lower Slower Board Gamer, just LSBG. Just keep on putting it out. I'm watching it. You're a lot of fun.
All right. We've actually kind of hit some other points already that we've, just by talking, I figured that would probably happen. But one of the ones we haven't touched on specifically is fun factor. How fun is, this is the most, it may not be technically the most accurate game out there, although that's up for debate, but it's certainly the most fun, at least to me.
Have any of you guys watched my game of the any one of my game of the year candidates? I think you'll reason why. Then you'll see the fun factor right there. I don't think I need to say more. I look at some of the crazy games I've had. Okay, look at some of the games where teams were down 10-2 and one team came back and scored 8 runs in an inning. The Yankee Brewers game in the ALDS of 1979. One of the games I just had recently, the '88 game of the year between the Yankees and the White Sox in a regular season game. How about Greg Wheels Luzinski literally taking a chance for my Mets in the 1976 NLDS away against the Phillies, and he has a rating of 1, and he made the play. So Wheels Luzinski out there. No fun factor. I guess the reason why inside pitch is more fun than anything else is because you got to roll. You may have to roll at least twice. Now, the one thing
that's actually a knock on the game by some.
That's a knock. By some people say that's a knock. Okay, so we go ahead and you have to go ahead and hold on a second here. Can I reach my dice without moving my camera?
Don't strain yourself.
No, I'm old. I'm always straining. I strain myself. I strain myself just to get out of bed. No, whatever. Hold on a second. I want to move the camera for a second. So all right, just like this. There's like 2 dice. Just 2 dice. I mean, some people go ahead like Appa, 33. Okay, it's an 8. It's a hit. Okay, 11 home run. Already know it's a home run. Don't have to look at it. Doesn't matter who the batter is. 24 fly out. Okay, okay, 36. Whatever. The thing about it is that you could just roll 1 dice and you can get the information you want. The one thing now, payoff pitch, okay, you actually have to roll more than once if you're not using the fast action cards. So if you're using the fast action cards, you can just roll once, and then you just pick up. There's Tabby.
Well, Gardner was asking about Tabby. I guess.
The cat. How's the cat? There's the cat.
There's Tabby. I don't think she wants to be up here. Like she wants to be up on her own when I don't want her up here. When I want her up here,
she's looking at. She's got a look on her face. She's got a look on her face like, "Put me down now, Human."
Yeah. So,
put me down now.
She's got a little perch right here beside me.
Don't ever pick me up again. Yeah. Poor cat.
Yeah.
But she's so cute. But But payoff pitch, though, if you're not using the fast action cards, you have to roll more than once to get like a chart result. Okay, because I have the fast action cards. So you roll them and say, oh, it's a base hit. Okay, so you just throw a card and he runs 2 bases. Runner advances 2 bases or 3 bases on a double. All right, that's fine. But here's the thing about payoff pitch, where you actually may have to roll more than once. Okay, you have to roll more than once. Okay. On certain plays. Now, of course, if you roll a D6 and say, oh, it's a strikeout chance, you look at the batter and you check the D20 and say, oh, it's a strikeout. So we got him right there. So sometimes only one roll will do it. But the excitement is, what's that cat crying about? The excitement is when you roll the dice, is that 44, it is a blank. We go to the batter card and it's 22-1. It's a base hit. You see, that's the thing about it. It's fun because if you think the pitcher first gets dibs on the play, and if he doesn't get the batter out, then the batter gets a chance to swing, and then you got to roll to see if the runner's going to score or something like that, or take the extra base.
Right.
And another thing that's fun about the game, in my opinion, is just the cards themselves. I mean, like I said, the cards are very easy to read. They're all matrixed up. Okay. Every card is different. You don't know what you get. You really don't know what's going to happen. You can play the same game with the same players 10 times in a row. You'll never get the same game. The fun factor, that's why I play it. To me, it's the most exciting baseball tabletop game you can play. I
think the thing that said it all is when you were playing the 85 replay with payoff pitch in mid-season, you switched to inside pitch.
Payoff pitch.
Because payoff pitch was fun, but with just that something was lacking.
There was one thing. There was a bit of an excitement factor I was missing because, like I said, if you roll the dice and you go ahead and it's a high enough roll, it's going to be an out. Whether it's a tough, patient, anything like that, it's automatically going to be an out. If it's like in the 70s or higher, it's usually more of an out. Okay. Plus, the way he has it situated with his cards, they're the same format. Mm-hmm. So he always has like L4, L6, and G4, G6. You notice he doesn't have L3.
For the outs, you're talking about the outs.
For the outs. He doesn't have L3, so you never line out the first. You never line out the third. It's either L4 or L6. Pop P4, P6, and then F8, F9, G. I mean, to me, the game started getting predictable. It started getting predictable, and that's, like I said, Appa. Oh, it's a 66 home run. You don't even have to look at the chart book. You already know what it is. Okay, just look at the guy's card. You already know it's a home run. The game started getting predictable to me. Okay, and
one of the things that I like about it is kind of, I don't want to say the word childish, but the team colors, to me, make a big difference. I mean,
I think so.
I feel like I'm playing the Orioles when I see a black and orange card out there.
Exactly.
I see a Strat card, it's blue and red.
And of course, with Cards with Colors, what's the best game to play? The All-Star game, because that's when I have them all out there. You know, the All-Star game. That's why I love that's why I like doing the All-Star game. It's an exhibition game. You know, it's a lot of fun to play.
And in payoff pitch, they started doing the little line in the middle with the team color. But to me, I almost don't even notice that. It's
the one thing also that Joe Bryant started doing, he started updating some of the rules, and he had to start updating some of his cards, and also not just the cards, but he also had to update some of the older seasons. I was told, I don't know who told me, I don't remember who it was, but if you have an older season from him, but with the new rules he instituted, those older seasons may not play right. With some of that, I was told, because his newer stuff has all his new stuff baked into it, but he did a bit of an engine change, I heard, and some of his older seasons may not play exactly the way it's supposed to unless you make a change to the game a little bit. Right. And I actually asked about that. I said, if that's true, if you're now creating second edition, you know, rules or cards or something like that, then you need to update all your seasons then, okay? But he wasn't able to do that, and I understood it. It wouldn't be cost effective. Plus, I don't think he had the time, and I get that. But that slightly dipped me a little bit, and that's why I started watching you play inside pitch a little more. And the thing about, you know, some people say there should be a basic, an advanced, and a super advanced version of every game. Nah. The thing about inside pitch, that's your game. There are a couple optional rules.
You learn it once and you got it.
You learn it once and that's it. There's no basic, there's no advanced, nothing. There are a couple of optional rules you can use, like the bull rating or the exhaust rule, okay, you know, that kind of thing. But you know, what is it? But that's the game. There's no advanced and super advanced. Okay, that's the game. If you have questions, ask the people that play it. You, me, Chris, he'll answer any rules question you have. And if you actually have a house rule that he actually thinks that makes sense, he'll actually tell you to go ahead and institute it. Yeah. Well, I had to create house rules for grounders at the plate. Right. And that doesn't happen often. I think G2 should be more of a rare play, but I created rules for grounders at the plate with runners on base, who the catcher would probably throw to, you know, that kind of thing. And I followed that. I actually have a card for it.
Hey, Craig, how you doing?
2 outs. Craig Scarborough joins us here.
Dave Gardner had a comment about season ticket baseball. I noticed a couple of people have been kind of delving in it. I even played it once. Have you experienced it at all? I know you had the rare plays you looked at one time.
I like the rare plays that he has. I think season
ticket. But you never tried.
No, I never printed any of them out. And first of all, I think it's beautiful. I mean, I love his cards. And they're
nice and big, for sure.
They're nice and big. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. They're nice and colorful as well. A little too busy for me. A little too busy. I don't know. Maybe too much information maybe on it. But I liked watching Steve Tower play it. I liked how you played it too, Dave. Okay, Uncle Dave, because I saw how the game flows. The game flows very well. There's not many caveats I have. Clay Dreslock, who also is the creator of Baseball Mogul, so the man knows what he's doing. Okay, so I'm not going to knock.
I just wish they had more printed seasons. I mean, they only have like two or three printed seasons.
That's the thing. In order to play
PDF,
in order to play, you have to have a PDF. You cannot really print it. Would be too expensive to print those seasons out. Yeah. And since if you're going to play a PDF and you got to play a full season, you're going to have to print out all those cards, and you're going to run out of ink. So, you know, but absolutely. But Clay Dreslock is an awesome game system. I think it's great. You know, I just to me, I just won't play it. Because right now I'm just so engrossed with inside pitch, the way it plays, the way it flows, you know, and the fun factor. That's the thing here, you know, Dave. Game flow and fun factor really have to be combined. Also,
a lot of these have to be combined. I was just,
you know, one of the thing about the game flow, you can play an inside pitch game. I mean, it takes me an hour to play, you know, an hour, a little bit hour and a half to play a game of inside pitch on my chat every night. But that's because I'm announcing. If you play it just by rolling and getting it, you'll get through a game in like half an hour.
Yeah,
30 minutes. 30 minutes. You just roll and say, oh, G6, ground out. Next player, F9, ground out. Single, okay, and there.
Yeah.
Get through an inning in less than 3 minutes or something like that. And even less if you're not keeping.
And to me, one of the biggest knocks on the game, or by some people, to me, is one of the strengths of the game, and that's base running, because you don't get a single 2 stars where the guy automatically gets third base. The single, you have to look where it's hit, who it's hit to, who the runner is, and who the guy throwing the ball is to get more realism in. Because if you got a guy slow as mud on first base, then getting 2 stars and having him go to third on a single to left field, say, doesn't make any sense.
You see, that's the thing, is the base running mechanics. I believe inside pitch is the only game that has that type of base running mechanics. Everybody else is 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. So if you got a batter or you got a base runner on first, if you got Greg Luzinski on first, okay, and he can run the 40-yard dash in like 20 seconds. All right. I'm sorry. No, there's no way he should make it to home on a double. He'd be lucky. Yeah. He'll get the third, and that's about it. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
can it happen? Wind at that point.
I mean, anyway. Can he still score? Yeah, because now remember. Now let's just say this: let me rephrase that. So you got Greg Luzinski, a base running rating of 1 on first base, but you got an outfielder who's got a +2 arm. So he's got no arm, and the ball is hit. Let's make it to center field instead, because left field is.
Or there's even 2 outs.
Even 2 outs. Okay, so if he's got a base running rating of 1, you got an outfielder with a +2 rating, so it makes it a 3. But let's say it's hit the center field,
you get that,
which is a minus, which is only a -2. Okay, and he could probably score, but now of course you got a runner out there who's got a good arm. Okay, so if you got like Ricky Henderson, who had a very good arm in left field, and you got a slow runner at first, there's no way that guy's getting home.
Yeah.
There's no way that guy's getting home. There's no way. He will get that ball and he will get it in the infield. There's no way he's scoring. No way he's scoring. He's slow as mud. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you got a guy with a bad arm in left field, all right, he does have a chance then. It takes that into account. This is the only game that does that. I've not seen any other game do it that way, where the base runner, the outfielder arm, and where it was hit to, okay, and you have to roll a die to see what happens, okay, and if it's a 6, there's a possible out, and obviously I think, and there are a number of pickoffs at bases, and when I'm trying to think of the base, but there really aren't that many. There really aren't that many, and that's why he cooked it up, where the only way a runner's going to be thrown out is on a 6, and then of course the outfielder arm is taken into an effect, and then you still got to roll, and then if it's a 2 to 5, the lead runner is out.
I'm trying to remember back when it first came out. Was 6 an automatic out at one point?
6 was an automatic. 6 was an automatic out.
You didn't check anything else. And
6 was an automatic out.
They added all this other stuff in.
Yep, 6 was an automatic out. But then he said he felt that the throwing arm was not taken to effect, right. So then he added in the next rules, then you roll to see if it's a 6, it could be an out. Then you roll to see under his arm rating. If it's a 3 arm, a 1 to 3, the throw is a play is made. A 4 to 6, the runner holds.
Right. And
then of course the 6 comes up, and then okay. Oh nope, there could be an out. Then you roll. The one thing about it is all you got to do is this. When a throw is being made, on a 2 to a 5 on the throw on the third die roll, a 2 to 5, the lead runner will always be out.
Yeah.
2 to 5 is always out. A 1 or a 6, he will always score, even if he's the only runner on the base.
Yeah.
Remember, some people actually said, well, what if he's the only runner on base? Because, if you got a 1 coming up on the chart, it said lead runner advances, ball caught off, and the trailing runner is thrown out. But what if there's no trailing runner? Okay, Chris actually said he said that means that he still he still scores. Okay, because um he was just too fast enough for the ball to get there, or no play could be made. Okay, so even though there was no trailing runner, the ball was still thrown to the plate, but he still scored anyway. Okay, the lead runner is only out on a 2-5. A 6, the lead runner will score, but the first trailing runner is caught on a rundown.
Yeah.
I remember that. Remember the game on for you on Saturday with last Saturday when with your
the old rundown there, and he actually scored.
The rundown, and he actually scored. So
and
yeah,
it was the lead guy scored as the trail guy to get caught in a rundown.
Correct.
Made the
so
out.
Exactly. So the game flow, the fun factor,
and also not just outfield but infield too. The double play can be dependent on the pivot of the second or shortstop. You know?
I actually did ask a couple of questions on some of the double play information. For instance, one guy in the forums mentioned, well, if runners are first and second, okay, shouldn't the runner on first not have the negative applied to his base running rating because he's not being held on? He said, it still should be considered because even though he's not being held on, he still can't go. It's a forced run, but he's still a runner on second there, so that will still actually slow him down a little bit. And I asked, what about the first baseman? He says, no, that's still first baseman still a 0 because there are not many 3-6-3 double plays, in the game. They still happen, but
the one that got me though, I think when it first came out, if a ground ball was hit to the pitcher, you added 1 to the double play rating. Now it's a negative one.
Negative one.
Totally flipped.
His reading is that in order for a double play for the pitcher has to get the ball, he has to turn around and make the throw. Okay, he has to turn around and make the throw, and that does take a little time. Yeah. All right, and that's what he said. Now, of course, the catch. Now, G2 was the real issue I had with the grounders at the plate with runners on base. So I actually had to create a chart for G2.
Especially if the bases are loaded as a force play coming in, right. He could just step on the plate or something. Unless the ball was hit too far away where he couldn't get back to the plate.
I actually went ahead and I sent him a copy of my chart, and I wanted his input on it and he said he had no issue with how I had it. So for G2 results, when I got it here, I know I printed it out. So I created a chart, for a ground ball for G2 results with less than 2 outs, and error, and now of course the error on a throw. When you got balls hit to the outfield. Now that also confuses some players too, is error on a throw, all right, on balls hit the outfield. But G2, I kind of made it simple. Bases empty, of course, the batter's out at first. Runner on first, if there's a runner on first, the catcher does not throw. Have you ever seen a catcher throw to second on a grounder at the plate to try to turn up a play? Chris said that's never happened. He's never seen that before. So to me, batter out at first.
I have seen him throw to second on a bunt to get a force play.
Right now,
I haven't seen him do it on a double play.
Right. I also include all bunts to the catcher. So the thing about I include all bunts. If there's a runner on first, you do a sacrifice. If the catcher still gets it, I still don't see the catcher throwing to second. I see him throwing to first to get the out and allowing it to go. I haven't completely made that hard line so far because I know the catcher can try a double play, but the thing about it is first the catcher has to get the ball and then he's got to make a throw. And usually if you're bunting, the runner on first is already more than halfway to second before the catcher gets the ball. Mm-hmm. So no matter what his speed is. So I don't know. I may change that to maybe
another one too. I just thought of as well while we were talking, and this is not to knock Strat. I'm just using it for comparison purposes because Strat's a wonderful game. But Strat-O-Matic on the batter card, they have fly ball Bs, which are automatic sacrifice flies.
Yep.
That means even if Greg Luzinski's on third base,
he will score.
He's going to score. Whereas an inside pitch, you have 2 chances. You have the batter sacrifice fly rating. If that fails, then you go to the batter run rating to see if he can score. So the guy with a 1 rating is probably not going to score if the batter doesn't do it himself. So I like that extra check where it's not just a given.
That's true. That's another thing I like about the sacrifice fly rule. And so I had to create certain things in order to make it easier for me to understand. It's not, I guess they're house rules, but to me, I thought they were realistic rules of balls hit the catcher, and of course, throwing errors. I made some mistakes on throwing errors on balls hit to the outfield. A number I realized most of the time was playing that wrong. That will not happen again. I will correct it. If there is an error on a throw on a ball hit to the outfield,
you talking about base hits or fly ball outs?
A single.
A single.
An S1, an S7, S8, S9, or an or D7, D8, D9. Okay. If it's less than 1 or higher than 6, there is no throw.
Right.
So there's no throwing error. But any other time, you have to check if there was a throwing error. Okay. Because I actually had to check with him on this because I was not doing it right. I was doing it where if the base runner was, let's say the runner had a rating of 3, the ball's at the left field, okay, and he needs a 2 in order to get the third. And I was rolling, I rolled a 3, okay. He stopped. I had him just stop at second, but the D20 was under the throwing error of the outfielder.
So that means he gets third base on the air, right?
I wasn't taking that into account. I just thought he automatically stopped and didn't include that. It does include that. Yep. So if that's the case, if there was a base runner, the runner on first would automatically goes if he stops at second, but there was a throwing error, he's on third.
Yeah. Okay. I messed it up myself with the sacrifice fly
and the batter takes second on the throw, and the batter will take second. So I was wrong on all that time. As I said, I had to make suit because even I was a little confused on that. He said, no, that's how it works. An error on a throw, there's never a throw if it's less than 1 or higher than 6. So if it's a 7, there's no throw. If it's a 0, there's no throw. But if your base runner would normally stop at second, but there's a throwing error, he takes third. If the base runner normally takes third, there's a throwing error, he scores.
Right. Okay. Same with sacrifice fly. Even if he had to hill, if he had to hold, but there was a throwing error, that means he would score.
So that's the one. And of course, there's a runner on second. If there's a runner on second, there's a throwing error, he scores. So I've been working on that. So I now know that I was not doing that correctly. And who knows how many changes that might have made to games in the past. Right. But now that I know it now, the 2016 season will be fully implemented with it.
All right. Now I want to get on to my wish list. And this I also include on there improvements and things I'd like to see. One of them is the rare play chart. I don't know if he'll ever do it.
There's no doubt about mine.
But I would love to see a rare play chart that's kind of tied in like replay baseball does, where it's done by number of outs and base running situations. I would like to see that. But
because
some of these I'm getting over and over and over, and they're starting to get redundant, you know. And that one you kept rolling was like always a fight on the mound, and people were getting ejected.
I hate that rule. That's why that always seems to come up. 66, that the brawl always seems to come up. I said to myself, no, that has to happen twice in the game. If it happens twice, if that the rare play on that, okay, is the dreaded.
Is 65 or something?
The dreaded 65 inside pitch, possibly it's batter.
Is that with people on or bases empty?
No, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's actually bases empty.
Oh, okay.
But so it only happens when bases empty. But resolved like a hit by pitch. Either way, the batter charges the mound, causing a bench brawl. No, that is really very rare. To me, I think that kind of like defeats the purpose of the game of baseball. So, in my opinion, if 65 rolled once, I'm just going to resolve it like a hit by pitch. But if it comes up twice, yes, I will allow the brawl from now on.
Yeah.
So 65 has to come up twice in order for me to bring out that brawl and start eject. I
just think it would be neat to have it where it's base runner specific. Like if you have runners on first and second, there's some rare plays that can happen on turning double plays.
Dreslock has some great plays in his season ticket baseball system, which I tried to implement, which I can. Some of them can be implemented. The thing about rare plays, though, a rare play should be something that the main cards cannot resolve.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he still falls into that category. So,
A lot of his rare plays talk about a range check and then check for injury. It seems like
Right.
most of the time.
Check for injury. Now, for injury check, the injuries are fine. And of course, I only do during the regular season, I do game day injuries only.
Mhm.
But in the postseason, I do full time injuries. Okay, and we had actually a good amount of injuries in my '88 postseason this year. I don't matter what 2016 is going to be because contemporary baseball injury ratings are usually a little higher than they are in classic and modern day because you had a lot of. I mean, remember also, what was it in 1988? I think some teams only used like 31, 32, 33 players for a whole year. Now in contemporary baseball, you got teams using 40, 50 players in a year. Call ups, send downs, injuries, trades.
Take it easy, Mr. Edsel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you there, Mr. Edsel. You are awesome. Thank you, my good man.
All right, let me get on to a couple other. I was going to come up with these two nitpicks.
Yeah, I
want
know.
to call it that.
I know
But
I know.
But if I'm presenting this fairly to people that don't know the game, I feel like with all the good we say, we have to let people know that okay, this is what you can expect if you see this. One of them I'd like to see improved is I'd like to see multiple cards for traded players. Even if you wanted to keep the complete stats, I'd like to have a card for each team with the complete stats. If you don't want to break them up, that's fine. But like the Johnny Briggs thing I was doing for 75, I had him for Minnesota, and then he was playing for Minnesota against Milwaukee. Oh no, it was one of the two where he was playing against the other team that he had played for previously, so he was in the wrong uniform, but he looked like he was a teammate of the team he was playing against. It was just really weird. I like to see the guys in the right uniform, right team,
Okay.
That's just me.
There's only one game that I know of that
payoff pitch.
That's payoff pitch.
Yeah.
Joe Bryan is the only payoff pitch is the only game where he prints multiple cards of a player,
and he does a combined or individual.
It's
like three cards for whoever wants it. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that stands out for payoff pitch, that there is no other game system that does that. Mm-hmm. Okay, no other game system. Now, if you want it, one thing you can do, if like I said, if you're a PDF guy, it's actually pretty simple. You can always make another copy of the card and just change the colors on it.
Yeah.
To me personally,
I know it doesn't bother you one bit, but
it doesn't bother me a bit. Matter of fact, that's fine, because actually, another thing I like about that is if there's a player that's on a team,
it tells you who he's traded to later on.
Exactly. It's one thing to say. Here because I always mention, you know me.
Your last one was Bernansky was traded for her.
Tom Bernansky. Here's Tom Bernansky. He will be on the Philadelphia Phillies later in the year, but he is right now on the Minnesota Twins. Okay, that actually gives me a little bit of some season history of that player, so I know where he was and where he's going to, or where he'll be coming from on other players. The only thing about, the colors may look a little bit off, and yes, it's very possible that I could have a starting pitcher from another. We could have, I got the Mets and the Royals coming up on July 3rd. Mm-hmm. But and Edinson.
And if they had a trade between them, then they could be pitching against each other.
Exactly. But have me and Matt Harvey going against Edinson Volquez. But if Edinson, it's very possible. Let's say Edinson Volquez was traded to the Giants or something, whatever. Yeah. Okay, and he would be in a Giants card pitching for the Royals on the mound.
Yeah,
I've had that a couple of times already. That doesn't bother me. All right, but that would be nice. But to me, I don't.
Like I said, that's a minor nitpick. It's just something that I've noticed.
There's only since I'll be honest with you, since only one game system does that. Strat don't do it. Appa don't do it.
It just looks more prevalent on inside pitch because of the color.
Because of the color. That's the only thing. If it wasn't, if
it wasn't for the colors, I wouldn't have noticed it.
If you want color, you wouldn't notice it. Okay, and you can't. And yes, you don't have to get. And by the way, you don't have to.
You can actually get black and white if you want.
You can get black and white if you want, and that's fine. And some people do. They don't want to deal with the colors, and that's okay. Yeah. All right, but only because of the colors. But if you're playing in black and white, you're not going to care. So since there's only one game system that does that, to me that's really minor.
Yeah.
So.
But my major nitpick, and of course I'm probably in the far minority on this, is the splits
It's the splits.
for platoon players, not for everybody, but for major platoon players, where you have to have at least, I think it's 40 at bats or something against each side to be carded for splits. But you'll have a guy with 400 at bats, and 375 of those will be against righties and only 25 against lefties. So you can use him against a left-handed pitcher the same as a right-handed pitcher, even though he hit like 100 points less in real life. So I want to get him his 40-something at bats, but it's kind of hard to do it because I feel like I want to pinch hit for him every time.
You know, the thing about it is, I know the
cookie cutter, yeah,
the dreaded cookie cutter card.
Yeah, was that Tommy La Stella?
That's Tommy La Stella from the 2016 Chicago Cubs.
But he only had like 100 and something at bats, didn't
he? He had 148 at bats.
Yeah.
But he's got 7s for both strikeouts, 12 for walks, and 4 for home runs, and he only hit 2. Now, real quick, it won't take. Let me real fast. Let me go to Retro Sheet and bring him up here. This may not be a really good card to utilize.
Yeah, it's probably not the best one I was thinking of, but
let me see. Well, hold on, it won't take me a second.
The one I was thinking of was, especially recently I talked to you about, was Dan Plesac.
Dan Plesac, yeah. Well, that's a pitcher.
He held lefties to a 140 average, but he's got a cookie cutter card despite the fact that he has over 50 batters faced on both sides. So to me, I thought that should have been a regular card. I thought that was very strange. It was cookie cutter.
Tommy La Stella, okay. So Tommy La Stella splits 20.
I think, is he a switch hitter or is he a lefty?
He's a lefty.
Okay.
And let's see, against right-handed pitchers, he had 129 at bats in 2016. Against left-handed pitchers, he had only 19 at bats. He had 316 against the lefties, 264 against the righties. He had 2 home runs against righties and none against lefties, but yet his card has 4s on both of there.
Right.
So if you were to really do this,
because Chris says, who's to say he couldn't hit a home run or whatever?
It's who's to say who couldn't hit a home run against a left-handed pitcher.
Although I have seen guys with splits that have 0s on their home runs against lefties, so they have 19 against righties and 0 against lefties for the guys that they do split that are really extreme. So
true.
I've seen it both ways, but.
And the thing about it is, I guess, 19 at bats against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, most time if you're doing as played, especially, he's not going to be starting against lefties at all.
He's not going to be starting against lefties. Now, I remember the one time, which was funny, in my the replay of what was it? I think it was it the set? I think it was a 79. It was a 79 replay where Alan Ashby hit a home run off a left-handed pitcher.
And he never did it all year, right?
And he never did all year. He had and you were 100% right. However, after checking Retro Sheet on him in 79, you are right. He never did hit a home run off a left-handed pitcher. He did, however, hit a home run when the starting pitcher was a lefty during the game. So later a right-hander came in and he hit a home run off the right-hander probably. But he did hit a home run in a game where the starter was a lefty. So
but he didn't off the lefty.
He wasn't wrong there. I mean,
the only reason I bring it up is for people that are interested, that might be interested in this game. That's just one thing. It is. If you're a split person, I mean, because I had a little sticker shock when I first saw that. I had to get used to it. I'm better about it now than I used to be. I was really anal about it at one point, but I've gotten over it, pretty much now. But it's just one thing to, I don't want anybody to have buyer's remorse or whatever because they didn't know that this was in there. It's only a few players for each team, and it's very rare. But it's mainly these platoon guys that never face left-handed pitching.
That's right, and Dave is right, guys. For anybody here who wants to give that a shot, but if you really are kind of concerned about split ratings and such, lefty versus lefty or lefty versus righty or whatever. Okay, his cookie cutter cards may make you think twice about the game. True. That's why Stratomatic is the king of splits. There's no doubt about it. There's no game that utilizes that. Even though he's not with us anymore, Steve Etzel actually went ahead and stated, it's not a big deal to me, but one criticism of payoff pitch is the lack of pitcher splits. Yeah. The only issue I have is the claim by the creator that the splits are baked in.
You can't
You
cannot bake in a split.
You can't bake in
I'm
no
sorry.
splits. Okay, you
There's
can't
no
bake
such thing as baking in a split.
yeah, that's what Joe Bryan said.
Yeah.
Okay, and that unfortunately that turned off a few people when they found out. Most pitchers, not every pitcher like your Dan Plesac, okay, but most pitchers do have split ratings. Okay, like pretty much almost every pitcher has a split rating. I'm a little surprised he didn't do Plesac. I'm thinking either A, his statistics were close enough where he felt it wasn't,
and they weren't, because it was over 100-point difference.
right? Something like that, possibly, or
But he
A.
had 57 batters faced against lefties, so it should have been
Right.
split.
But then again,
and I wouldn't care if he was a marginal player, but he's their closer.
He's their closer, right?
So it's pretty
But
important.
maybe he did it also that way to make sure that he would be as dominant as he was as a closer, because Plesac didn't stink that year in '87, I believe. But
Yeah.
Let's say Salvador America says, I hope Mrs. America doing sorry. That's a weak argument. He had a home run when a lefty starts. I know. But hey, like I said,
but he followed up with a compliment to you though after that.
Yeah, so. I know. Now like I said,
you are right, Salvador. He does make it look very, very easy.
There's always going to be a guy that will defend his game, and that's fine. He defends it. Yeah. Joe Bryan defends it. Stratomatic defends theirs. So does Appa. Everybody has their little takes on. Has their takes on it.
Yeah.
I will agree with Dave that yes, instead of maybe use, because his level is 50 at bats. Mm-hmm. If it's less than 50. He's going to make a cookie cutter. If it's more than 50 at bats against the handedness of the pitcher, the card will be, set up correctly. I do actually wish that he could bring that down. Maybe not 50 to maybe like 20 or 10 would make more sense.
On the website, it actually says 40.
It's 40. Okay. But, but
Plesac had like 57. So, he was well over the threshold.
I do know that if he actually went back and re-rated the players utilizing that format, he'd have to do all his seasons all over again. And then again, maybe his game engine, the system he uses to get to make the matrices and the cards, maybe it doesn't allow for him to do it that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't make the game, so I don't know. It is. I agree. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. It is, and yes, it isn't. And that's not a nitpick. To me, that actually is a caveat, which can make you think about the game.
Well, I remember when I first got the game, I thought the cards had been misprinted, because I'm like, hey, this guy's not rated for splits. I had to go on the forum, and they'd explain to me, oh, he didn't have 40 at bats. That's why he doesn't have a split. I didn't know that at first.
Yeah, neither did I until I learned it there. But I'm like I said, for people that are really concerned about splits, if that is a major concern, about splits, then then maybe that might not be the game for you. If that is
like I said, I've learned to work around it. So it doesn't. I look at it and I kind of inwardly cringe, but I outwardly don't say anything and just drive on. So.
This upcoming, he says here, upcoming 26 he knows the Yankees seem to go. Well, hey, what are you going to do? Hey, the Yankees have won every World Series in my 80s. They won 81, they won 85, and now I'm sorry, they didn't win 85.
I thought Houston won 85.
Astros won 85. Yeah, the Yankees have been to every World Series in the 80s. I meant that. The Yankees won 81 and 88. They lost 85, but they've been to the World Series in every one of my 80s series. They've not been to the World Series in any of the other years. Not the 70s, not 60. I'm surprised they didn't make the 61 as good as they were. But let's see here. Modest King says, good to see you, Modest King. Very lead on joining, but I'll say splits are important, but the thing is to make sure you have the rules for it. You can't really have mistakes like Plesac, as I said.
But like I said, I don't know if Plesac is a mistake or if it's I never brought it to anybody's attention because I don't want to be a pest, so I just left it alone. But I don't know. Maybe it was not a mistake. I'm sure
maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was not a mistake. He was a pretty good closer that year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was very good closer.
So maybe he just left the card the way it was to make sure he can get the statistics. But as I said, that's him, and I don't argue ratings with him. The only thing I mentioned to him is rules. Is his rules of his game. I don't get with him on ratings. And I always tell people, if you don't like the ratings, change them. You can. His cards are so easy to read and so easy to change. Just change the ratings if you want to do it. Black out the home runs or something. If you find a cookie cutter, if
I have done that. I have done that.
You've done that.
I put tape over the number, put a 0.
If you're gonna do since I do season replays, but I don't do every single game of that team, it doesn't make sense for me to go ahead and
but if I'm doing like a full team
like
replay
if you're doing a full replay for like let's say
I did the Washington Nationals replay.
The Washington Nationals replay. You're going to look through your cookie cutter cards and you're going to see, okay, I need to change this and change that. Okay. You're going to do that for a full season team replay. But since I do season replays and I'm jumping all over the league, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense to do that at all whatsoever. Steve, I don't know. It's been so long since I've been so far away from that. I'm afraid if we brought it back, people might not know who I was. Although you never know about Kip Scary. So.
Oh, you never know. Kip Scary, he could be around here someplace.
No,
he could be
I have to physically do this with my nose in order to make that sound with Kip Scary.
Well, you just can't do it just like this.
I can't do it. No, I have to go like this.
Like the way it is right now. I'm not talking anything like that. It's very simple.
I'm
a man of 1,000 voices. I can do anybody. But by the way, Dave, I miss your history maker. But I know right now you're more into the payoff pitch, and
I've got 3 things going on right now.
Well, you got so many things going on.
But but 2 of them are just Saturday and Sunday, so there's not like a whole lot of prep for them. The Yankee one is the only one I'm really drudging through to get through some games. I'm trying to play some more offline, trying to get through those games faster.
But I agree. The splits, as I said, if they're a major pet peeve of people, inside might be the game for you, but. I just to me it just bounces off. I don't care. I mean, it's just so much fun.
It's sort of like you have to payoff pitch. I had to come to terms with payoff pitch that the pitchers weren't split. So you just have to come to terms with that.
You have also on your list here strategy rolls, range plays, and base running. We've already discussed the base running. Then there's the range plays. Now, of course, I've gotten a lot of flack lately on certain players getting low range plays when they were much better in the field. And I actually did bring this act to Chris, and Chris did say some of the older seasons he did were using a different system where maybe the players may have been rated a little too low. Is he going to update it? No, he will not update it, and he doesn't have to.
When you say older, you mean like in the 60s or like in the 80s?
No, some of the older, when he was first doing this, like the older seasons that he did. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's I don't know what his first inside pitch season they ever printed out. I have no idea. I don't know
what the order was.
What the order was, but he updated the engine later.
I wonder if it's 08 because that's what he puts on the freebie to trial the game.
It may have been 08, okay, and then of course he started using others go back in time for further seasons and start to back, okay. Perhaps, possibly so. Don Mattingly, rated a 2 in 1985 when he said actually should have been probably rated a 4 or a 5. Okay. But then I said, but obviously it's not him literally going, he's not going and saying, okay, this guy should be a 3. He should be a 5. He should be a 1.
I'm figuring he's got a formula and just plugs everything in.
He's got a formula.
It just kicks everything out.
It just kicks everything out. He probably puts in the stats or downloads the paperwork from RetroSheet, puts it in his computer, presses enter, and the computer goes ahead and prints his seasons up. Okay, puts the matrixing in his system. I don't think he does every single card on his own. And if he does, I apologize, because if he does, I apologize. That just tells me how much work that man does.
I don't think he would have time to do that.
I don't think all he's doing.
With all he's doing, I don't see how he would have time.
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe he's got a program that does that. So
maybe he's got a helper that we don't know about.
Right, and Chris, if you ever Chris won't go in the chat, I know, but if you ever watch this guy, tell me if you are doing it that way. Let me know so then I can eat the words. But
but I wanted to get back to strategy roles because to me that's one of the I put it in the fun category or whatever. But if I'm doing both teams, to me it just makes managing both teams so much easier because I don't have to try to decide should I steal or should I not steal. the strategy roll is going to tell me if I should steal.
The strategy roll is, of course, an option.
It's optional, but I go with it.
You don't have to use it.
Which is weird because when I first started playing the game, I said, I'm not messing with this stupid strategy roll. And now I can't play a game without one.
No, you can't. You can't. It's the strategy roll is designed, to get those other stats, the stolen base stats,
pick-offs
stats, the sacrifice stats. That's what the strategy roll is supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And the strategy roll will tell you if the player would bunt, or if he would try to steal, or if there's a good hit and run attempt. Usually the hit and run he changed. Remember the old version rules, it was just a +2.
Yeah, that's 2 from the steal number.
From the steal number. Now, depending on how well the batter does or does not strike out, he raised it or he lowers it. So if you got a batter that strikes out a lot, you're not going to try a hit and run. If you got a batter that that does not strike out a lot, you got a good chance for a hit and run here. Okay, and it'll allow and of course pickoffs and everything. The strategy, if you don't use it, the only way you can call, you can call a steal if you want, but if you got a guy that stole maybe 2 base, he's got a stolen base rating of 20, but he has an attempt rating of 1. So every time, he should always steal, but he only had like 2 stolen bases.
Right.
So he shouldn't be stealing often. And probably the only reason why he got the 2 stolen bases was not because he stole them, because they were failed hit and runs.
Right.
Have you ever noticed that? Probably. So if you got a base runner,
or they could have been back ends of double steals because both players get credit for stolen base on a double steal.
Here's Anthony Rizzo for the 20.
How many steals he have?
He had 3 stolen bases. He has a stolen base rating of 8, but only an attempt of 1.
Yeah,
that's got to be failed hit and runs or double steal. That's what that's got to be. Yeah. Okay, so I kind of.
Even people like Ricky Henderson has to earn their jump. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Ricky Henderson
or Vince Coleman or whatever.
Can you imagine how many steals Ricky Henderson would have now with the way the bases were larger?
Or Vince Coleman.
Vince Coleman. You imagine how many steals he would have now?
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson is probably sitting in his chair looking at the new bigger bases, and now you can.
And they only get 2 throws over.
Once you go over the first, Ricky Henderson said, "Damn, I would have 300 stolen bases in a season." Yeah. And Vince Coleman would be racing to see who would have the most steals. He would have 2,000 steals. Ricky Henderson in his career, he would have over 2,000 steals with those rules. Yeah. So what? Because on the third pickoff, he's going to go. He's going to second. And sorry, catcher, you're not getting him. Okay. So no, he wishes the rules for pickoffs right now was in play now, compared to when he was doing it in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, because he played a long time. Greatest leadoff hitter in baseball history.
And also I had down here range plays. To me, one of my favorite roles in the whole game is when I see a range play come up.
And it's a simple role.
I just enjoy range plays.
There are other games.
I actually enjoy range plays at the ballpark even better.
Yep. It's a simple role. It's a simple role because remember there's a couple of games that have to use a chart for the range. You have to say, oh, it's a range. You got what's his range is a 4, so you got to go to the chart, and then you got to roll a d20 to see what's on there. Does he make the play or not? Nope. What's his range? Range is a 3. It's a 3. He made the catch. Done. Now, the one thing I noticed about Strat though, that I sometimes wonder why. But inside pitch, and I think payoff pitch is the same way too. Inside pitch and payoff pitch, you either have a range check or an error check. You don't have both. Mm-hmm. You don't have both. Stratomatic, you can have both. I believe. Is that correct? You can have a range.
It's super advanced.
Super advanced. You can have a range check and an error check. So maybe he makes the play, but he makes an error. Okay.
He gets to it, but he boots it. Yeah.
I think the only way you can have, I think it's only a rare play is the only way he does it here, I think, where it's either a range play or it's an error check, an error on a grounder, error on a throw, or just a basic error with a question mark. That's the thing. I know payoff pitch is the same way. Payoff pitch, you got to check the defense, and it's either a range check or it's an error check. All right. Stratomatic, I think, is the only game where you can actually have a range check, but then you can still check for an error. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So because you're rolling
if you play super advanced, otherwise
super advanced, but it's still super advanced, which in my opinion is still the only way to play Strat.
Yeah, if you play advanced like I did in Demolition League, you check one or the other. But
Right.
in Super Advanced, you check everything.
When you check, like I said, I have pulled out my Stratomatic. I played some offline and to get some used to it. And I played basic for one game, and I said, God, I'm missing a lot. Then I switched to advanced, and I got my rules down pat, and I said, still missing a lot. Then I went to super advanced. I said, yeah, this is how you play Stratomatic. Okay, that's why APA. It's got to be master game. And the one thing I like about Inside Pitch, there is no basic or advanced or super advanced rules. Here are the rules. That's the game. There's a couple of optional rules. That's fine. Optional rules is okay, but here's the game. This is how you do it. So I just, that's another thing I like about it. It's one set of rules. It's not basic, advanced to super, anything like that. Not that there's something wrong with that with Strat, because Strat has a lot of rules, but basic is supposed to get you into it. And as soon as I played a game of basic, I said, okay, I can play advanced. And after I played a game of advanced, I said, okay, I can play super advanced. After I played super advanced, I said, okay, yeah. I mean, to me, that's the only way to really play Stratomatic is super advanced.
I have done recently a couple of basic videos in Stratomatic because I know some people like that, so I put it out there just for those types of people.
Quick game of baseball.
And I'm trying to do that to help me not be so rigid on my left-right splits for the inside pitch game. So I'm hoping by playing basic Strat, that's kind of taking the edge off of the being so rigid on the left-right splits, so I can enjoy the other games more that don't have the left-right splits. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing it, I think.
To me, I know what we're doing. We've been doing 2 hours and 10 minutes here.
Yeah, we're about ready to wrap up very shortly.
But I'll give a closing statement here.
Okay.
To me, guys, for those of you who think, if you're thinking about getting a copy of Inside Pitch, and you've heard me and Dave talk about it, to me, guys, this is the most exciting tabletop baseball game to me you can play. I'm not taking anything away from any of the excitement of the other games that they offer, but there's just something about playing a game of Inside Pitch that really makes it exciting. You really do not know what's going to happen because there is no charts that decide anything except for bunts and squeeze bunts, and that's it. Everything is decided by the dice. So you do not know what will happen until the dice finish rolling. Okay, there's no charts to check. Okay, if you have issues with mechanics of some of the game, like the base running and such, I'll give it a couple of times. You will get it down pat. Me and David have created helpers to help people with the base running. It's really simple. It's so simple. You wonder how we even had an issue with it. Okay, don't let it turn you off because it for me, I had issues a little bit earlier.
Oh, I did too.
But I said, no, this game looks like it's so much fun. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to learn it. Okay. And I'm still making mistakes. I've been playing the game now for 3 years, but,
and as Robert will tell you too, when you're streaming a game or whatever, it's very easy to make a mistake while you're streaming as opposed to playing offline because you're trying to keep up with other things going on and just it's like a whirlwind that happens so fast and you can make a mistake and not even realize it. Somebody in the chat has to correct you on it because you misread this card or whatever.
And I've had you guys in the chat. You're always correcting me, and I said, you know what? That's fine. I'm just going to say the umpire blew the call.
There you go.
So that does. Hey, the umpires blew the call. If you guys haven't seen some of the blown calls lately in the majors, which cost actually the couple of games for some teams.
I just count that as Joe West or Angel Hernandez.
Joe West, Angel Hernandez. You know what? Please give me give me a break. But hey, it's all right. It's okay. I'll make those mistakes. But yeah, Salvador America brings it up. It's supposed to be fun. What do I say at the end of all my videos? Play the game you want. Play the game you want to play it.
Play the game you like to play the way you like to play it.
Exactly. The game is supposed to be fun, and I have the most fun playing this. I tried the others; they were okay, but I felt something was missing. Like I said, I was playing APA, and I just felt something was missing. I was playing the Fall Classic, tried that, felt something was missing. And I played some Payoff Pitch. Payoff Pitch was exciting. I liked it. But as I was playing another season, and that season was was getting to wear on me, I said, there's something missing here. Okay. I just felt that's why I made the switch to Inside Pitch and realized this is the game I should be playing. Okay. I will not tell, all you guys, you have your strat players, your diehard strats, your diehard appas, your diehard payoffs, your diehard fall classics, your diehard season tickets, and that's great. Play the game you want. But for and that's awesome. But for those of you people who are thinking about getting a copy of Inside Pitch, please just go to his website, go to the Inside Sports Games. Choose your favorite season if it's available. And remember, he's working on more 90s and 2000s. They will be coming. We got to be patient. He's been working on them for a while. He seems to be doing like 2 seasons now every 3 to 4 months.
And if I'm not mistaken, you can still get the PDF 2008 for free.
Yep,
right?
2008 for free.
With the World Series teams for free.
Yep,
I believe you can do that for free to try it, to see if it's what you like.
Try it out and try it out and play a few games. If you don't like it, that's okay. I understand. It has a bit of a learning curve due to the mechanics, but trust me, once you get that learning curve down, you wonder what other game can you really play, and that's the thing. I want to thank everybody in the chat. It was a great honor. It was a great honor here to be with David Baseball with the demos. You do have your game of the week coming up tomorrow, don't you, sir?
Yes, I do. And I also avoided no puns tonight, so I stayed away from puns. So
not very punny of you.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Cubs and Cardinals, 1975. Rick Russell, Bob Gibson. Rick Russell and Bob
Gibby.
Now, Gibby pitched. Now, 75 was his last season, so he wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And he got shelled opening day against the Phillies. But he's going to give it another go here against the Cubs.
Okay,
it's the Cubs' first. I'm trying to get every team on there before the All-Star break at least once. And this is the Cubs' turn to come on. And, of course, if you're playing every team, you got to have repeats.
So you have the NBC. He has his 1975 Inside Pitch Game of the Week tomorrow. Please don't miss that. That's always
usually around 1 o'clock Eastern, give or take a few minutes.
And then, of course, you have your replay baseball.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Okay.
Generally 8:30, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay. Who's on replay for that night?
We are in the Mistake by the Lake with Cleveland. It's Kansas City and Cleveland. Cone for Kansas City. Okay. Against some guy I never heard of from Cleveland. Cliff Young or somebody. It was somebody that wasn't very good.
So don't miss his replay baseball game.
Although in the real game, Cone got beat in the bottom of the ninth by a home run from Reggie Jefferson. So they let Cone pitch the whole game, and he lost it in the bottom of the ninth. Wow. They didn't bring in a reliever or anything. He lost in the bottom of the ninth to a home run to Reggie Jefferson 3-2 in the real game. I don't know what this game is going to turn out to be, but
he's doing a great. Check Dave out on replay baseball, which is actually something I would like to pull the trigger on. I'm just waiting for an '86 season to show up.
And actually, 2 nights ago, I recorded the Yankee Texas game for payoff pitch. However, when I was messing with my little headset, somehow or another, I hit the mute button. So the whole thing was recorded with no sound. So I was like, you got to be kidding me. And that was game 1 of a doubleheader.
Ouch.
So what I'll probably do is just record game 2 of the doubleheader and not worry about that one, or the final game of the doubleheader or something. So Texas will be the next game, probably maybe Monday or Tuesday. I'll put that out. And I'll make sure the mute button's not on. So
that's what he's got coming up. He's got his Inside Pitch Game of the Week tomorrow, and at around 1 o'clock.
Right, that's live. Whereas where the replay is recorded, but usually premiered, so you can chat. I can have chats up.
And he'll have replay baseball Sunday night. And of course, what are you guys about me? Well, we have on Sunday the 2016 demo game. We're about to launch the Inside Pitch 2016 replay. It is only 1 week away as opening day, but the demo game is actually the launch game of the replay, pretty much like an exhibition game, where I will go through the 2016 game between the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. It is a slow demo game where, of course, if you've watched some of the other demo games I've been doing, slow and steady.
And that's a great way to learn. That's a great way to learn the game, is to watch a slow play like that.
So the demo game officially launches my 2016 replay. And of course, July 3rd, which is only one week from next Monday, we have opening day. It will be April 3rd, 2016. The New York Mets taking on the Kansas City Royals. It will be Matt Harvey versus Edinson Volquez as we start that 2016 opening day. So 2016 is coming, guys. This is the season you wanted, and this is the season you're going to get. Yep. So it is coming. So my break is about to my off season for the middle of the year is about to come to an end. Mm-hmm. But hey, it's about to start. But meanwhile, check out David Baseball Demos. Please check out me. Please check out Al Red Sox Fan. Please check out After Further Review with Steve Tower. Please check out Uncle Ron Juckett at Retro Sports Network. Please check out Uncle Dave Gardner. Please check out Beatles Eternally. There's too many people to check out, but
and,
hey, you know what?
Clee Baseball Fan also doing
and Clee Baseball Fan after, of course, and Mr.
And
Dave
Appa
Biddle,
Brian.
and Appa Brian, the king of Appa, in my opinion. Please check out all these wonderful guys. They play their games the way, like Dave says, the way they choose to play it. So, guys,
and actually, next Sunday is normally the reason why I'm recording and doing the premiere for the Sunday night games is because I'm not home on Sunday. But this coming July 4th weekend Sunday, I will be home. So I'm thinking next Sunday it's going to be live. That'll be July 4th. That'll be July the 2nd, the day before you start yours. It'll be the Padres and the Phillies. The game was actually played on July 4th, Sunday, July 4th, 1993, from the vet. So I'm going to do that one live because I will actually be here. and usually on Sunday night I'm driving home from my mother's house. But this Sunday,
Salvador America. So that's
Tony Porter. Yep.
Yeah, can't forget Tony Porter. Absolutely, it was my bad. I can't forget him. He's also one of the reasons why I got in this thing.
Well, the problem is you start trying to list off everybody, you're going to forget. You can't remember.
I know you can't remember
because there's always a new person doing it. At some point.
You guys are just awesome. Everybody, all you guys in the chat, you're awesome. It is a great honor to know every single one of you. I hope one day we all get together. I would love to have us all meet somewhere in Central. East, I think we're all on the East Coast or something like that. Steve, I forget. Steve Tower, do you live in the Boston area? Does he live in the Boston?
He's up in New England somewhere. I don't know exactly.
In the New England area. It's a very possibility there, Mr. Tower, that next year, me and my best friend, maybe because we went. Dwayne
Martz has videos too. Don't forget about Dwayne Martz.
Absolutely, Dwayne Martz has got the YouTube network. Absolutely. Yeah. I forget because me and my best friend, we went to New York for vacation, but from now on, me and him want to go to certain other cities, and we're thinking of going to Boston next year. And if any of you guys are you're about 15 miles southwest of Boston, Steve, I'll tell you right now, if me and my friend come to Boston, okay, you or Al Red Sox fan, because I don't know where he is either. I know he said Ron Juckett.
Ron's in Vermont.
That's I would love to go meet him too, but if I come to Boston, Mr. Tower, I'm going to let you know, and I would be awesome to meet you as well. So because I'm going to I'm thinking going to Boston to a game at Fenway yes, we would go to a game at Fenway Park because it's been a long time since I've been at Fenway years ago, and yes, I'll say this, I will wear a Mets jersey. But I will wear a Boston Red Sox cap for you because I have no problem with the Red Sox. But I'm probably going to try to make Boston next year around the same time period, around May. So we'll see if anybody. We'll see. That's of course a while from now, but all you guys are terrific. All you guys are awesome. It's just a great it's a great honor to know all you guys. And Dave, this was a special honor for me personally. I see you got a face to the voice finally. I never think I ever saw your face before. I think I
haven't missed anything.
Gamer, but I didn't get to watch it.
You didn't miss anything.
Hey, no, it's good to put a face to the voice. We're all great people here. We all love what we do. It was a great honor to have a good chat with you. I know you wanted to do this for a long time. I'm glad we were able to do so. So
I was glad I could figure out StreamYard. That was a major task.
You guys, it's just a great honor to just be doing this. I never, if you'd have told me before the COVID era in 2019 that I would now be doing this now 4 years later, I would have thought, I would have asked you what form of crack you're on and can I have some?
So, I mean, I'm like that in 10 times over because when I first started, I mean, I saw a couple people doing videos and I said, let me try one. The very first video I ever did, I had an old phone. It wasn't even it was barely a smartphone, I think. And I had that aimed at the computer screen because I didn't know anything about capturing computer screens. And it was just awful. And then when I started, it was like, okay, I'm just going to demo a couple games and let people see if they want to buy something. I never planned on doing replays or any of this other stuff and never planned on, I'm almost on 8 years now doing this. It's just weird how that turned out, but
I'm
been having a blast with it. I know that for sure.
This is fun to do, and
I primarily like to stay away from the camera, so that's why you haven't seen me on very often.
Hey, like I said, I'm not camera shy. I don't mind showing my ugly mug, but I can tell you that I can tell you that everyone notices. People ask me who have done this, and Robert, how come you didn't go into announcing when you were young and guys say, they always have those paths that you just don't take.
Yeah.
But I really did. I guess I really did miss my calling. But all you guys are terrific.
Well, everybody has a different style. I mean, we have completely different styles, and
yes, you are calm.
They seem to work for both of us. If I tried to be you and you try to be me, it just wouldn't work.
You are calm, cool, collected. I'm the loud mouth. Okay.
But if we tried to switch it up, that just wouldn't work.
So. Yeah, no, it wouldn't. And Al, Red Sox fan. He's a combination of the two. Steve Tower is also very laid back.
Yeah.
Dave Gardner is laid back. He can get a little bit loud too, but that's okay. Ron Juckett, he's also very calm.
He does his inner Vin Scully.
He does. Yes, he does. His inner Vin Scully. He is such. Uncle Ron is such.
If I could do impressions, I'd do the Sunday night game in a John Miller voice, but I don't know how to do a John Miller voice, so I can't do it.
Uncle Ron is such an amazing human being.
He is.
All I can do is just marvel at that man. Really, he brings so much joy. So I don't know if he'll ever watch this, but he does. Uncle Ron, we love you and thank you very much for what you do. For us.
Thank you all the creators on
there. All you
because
creators out there.
I watch more YouTube than I do TV. So
that's true.
When I'm riding around at work, I've got somebody's video on most likely. I might not watch it, but I listen to it. So.
You know what's bad when I'm driving home and I put ID Jester's unboxing on.
Oh, the app unboxing?
No, just what's an unboxing.
Where he's buying all this stuff all the time.
He buys his stuff, and I just text him. I go, more junk.
More junk. Well, like I said when I was talking about Dave Little, his reaction to IG or ID. I've watched ID's Strat rant several times too, just because it's so entertaining.
He destroyed History Maker Golf only a few.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
He destroyed that poor game, and I like History.
I felt bad because Keith is a nice gentleman, and I like play games. So I don't know where his issue was with it, but I don't have History Maker Golf, so I can't make a comment on it.
He said the rule book was. I tell you the truth.
I saw other people playing it with no problem whatsoever. So
for History Maker Golf, I'll tell you the guy that got me into it was Tenacious Earl, and I haven't. Yeah. And wherever you are, Tenacious Earl also terrific. Also a wonderful man. So.
Well, I talk to him once in a while on Messenger, and he just said he's just kind of taking a break for a while.
Yeah, and that's good for him. He could use the break because to me, in my opinion, he's the king of History Maker Golf.
Yep.
He's the king of history. That man.
I'm gonna do it one of these days. I keep saying I'm gonna do it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna do a Tubi Awards, and I'm gonna give out awards, the Tubi Awards, like the Emmy Awards for all the individual games of who I think is the best at presenting each individual game. I want to get around to doing that eventually.
I know who we forgot. I am so sorry we forgot him. Lee Anthony Crooks of Bleacher Bums game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry,
and Glory Days Boxing.
Glory Days Boxing.
But he doesn't do that many videos anymore. I mean, most of it's behind the scenes.
Much videos, but he is the creator of Glory Days Boxing. Those of you who don't know about it, it's quite possibly the best tabletop game on the planet.
And see, I hate boxing. That's why I never got it.
I'm not a boxing fan, but I purchased all the stuff too because I support him.
But it's very entertaining to listen to Al Red Sox fan call a fight.
Yep. I think when it comes as much, I understand that Lee Anthony is the creator of Glory Days Boxing, but Al Red Sox fan, he's the Lord of the Ring.
Yeah,
he's the Lord of the Ring. So he's the Lord of the Ring. But yeah, and of course he does Glory Days College Football, and that's fun. I played a little bit offline. I'm not ready.
Now he had originally about a year or two ago he was coming out with a Glory Days baseball game, but I guess that got held up. But it really looked interesting because it talked about the batter making contact or not was one of the first things they checked,
That's
which I thought was kind of ingenious. But
I know it was.
so I told myself I'd be glad to play test it if you ever come out with it. If you need, some play testers, and maybe he's still working on it. I don't know, but that's one game I'm definitely looking. If he put it out, I would definitely get it.
I agree. Well, guys, we'll all let you go again.
Yeah, we're at 2.5. For anybody to stay the whole time, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
how can if you can listen to two old guys rant for 2.5 hours? You're
if you guys are here for the whole 2 hour, 3 hours, I'd like to ask you, don't you have lives? Okay, maybe I guess not. Well,
like I said, I'm guilty as charged too, because there's nothing on TV. I'll turn on YouTube and see who's on. Whether it's a game I missed, that was live and I never got around to it, or whether it's a Dave Gardner chat or it's an Al Red Sox fan chat or whatever, I'll turn it on.
Thank you both for being older than me. Well, geez,
yeah.
I guess you're welcome there, Mr. Tower. Geez, now I really feel old.
Well, I'm 58, so I don't know about everybody else, but
he's 58, I'm 54. One of these days you're never gonna catch up.
I'm 4 years, count on 4 years from being able to collect Social Security. And I thought it was funny, a couple of years ago I started getting letters from AARPs.
I'm an AARP.
And I have gone to the movies a couple of times and gotten senior discounts. So.
See, my daughter just turned 26 last week, and
unfortunately, Chris doesn't give senior discounts.
I don't know. I don't know when I feel older is when I turn the extra year or when my daughter does.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I feel older when I see a player that I saw his grandfather play in the big leagues, and now he's playing in the major leagues. I'm old. I'm old. Like
Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
Or Mike Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
Mike Yastrzemski. Yeah. Okay. Mike Yastrzemski. I said, isn't he I first thought he was his kid, and they said, no, that's his grandson. I said, that's his grandson. I said, am I that old? Because I saw Carl Yastrzemski play when I was young. I said, no. Oh my God.
I guess that's why I'm kind of old school. I put the old school, so I tend to do a lot of things old school. So,
guys, you all be terrific. Remember, catches Inside Pitch, 1975 NBC Game of the Week tomorrow, and catch my demo game 12 noon Sunday. Indians and Cubs. The 2016 season is around the corner.
Sunday night around 8:00 or so is the replay. Sunday Night Baseball, Cleveland and Kansas City.
You got it.
Premiere. So you've got 3 games right there in 24 hours, almost a little over 24 hours.
Yeah, he is a good player, and I'm surprised Boston hasn't made a trade for him yet, because I hate to say this, seeing Yastrzemski in a Giants uniform, he should be in Boston. I don't know why they haven't traded for him yet, just because of the principle of it. But I don't get it.
All right, we got to be nice to Dave Little. He's our elder, so.
All right, cut us off, my good man.
Talk about a guy with a good voice. Dave Little has a really good. He could have gone to broadcasting for sure.
I have heard it. His voice is nice and deep, and it's got strength.
Yep, I'm not a fan of the action PC basketball, but I'll watch that just to listen to him talk. So, oh well. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to RJL and myself, or Robert and myself, and appreciate anybody stuck around for this long. Definitely appreciate that. Appreciate all you guys for checking out all our videos that all the creators put out, because without you guys watching, we would just be talking to ourselves. So we certainly appreciate that. And if anybody has not done a video or not started a channel and thought about it, go for it. It's fun. You don't have to be a professional. I have cheap equipment, so you don't need big equipment to do it. Just have a good attitude and have fun, and that'll come through the people watching. And you'll get support from the community for sure.
Absolutely.
And if you got any questions about either, Inside Pitch, you can reach out to either myself or Robert, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions you have. But the biggest thing is check out his demo game, and that will cover a whole lot of stuff. And he does it real slow, so you actually have time to take notes if you want to. It's up to you. If you want to get that far, you can go to school, go to RJL University, about doing this thing. So, yeah.
One of these days, I'd like to get paid for all this.
Well, there you go. So,
for those of you who haven't subscribed to me, please subscribe. I'm about 630 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 1,000 before I can monetize this stupid thing.
There you go.
But hey, just for all you guys, subscribers, have them subscribe to me. You don't have to watch a video, just subscribe. It'll help.
There you go. or like the video because that'll get his videos out
That'll
more.
help it too if you like
Something
it.
with the way YouTube works.
The algorithm.
That's the word I was trying to think. I couldn't think of the word
algorithm,
algorithm, but supposedly it's something with the algorithm. I don't know how that works, but
you can't censor your foul mouth. Well, hey, I mean, hey, Salvador, I know for a fact you were very happy the Yankees won my 1988 World Series. I know for a fact you were a big time Yankee fan, right, Salvador? I absolutely know you love those Yankees. I mean, I know for a fact that you would rather take a trip to Yankee Stadium and you would go in a big time Yankees you know, the pinstripe and Yankee pinstripes and a Yankee cap. Come on, Salvador. You know for a fact you want to take pictures in that wonderful Yankee pinstripe and the Yankee ball cap, right? I know you do. I remember you did tell me your favorite player was Bucky Dent, right?
Remind me, is it Steeler fan or is it Steeler fan or Brian B, or which one of it is the Bill Swift fan?
That would be, and he's not in our chat. Apparently, I guess he couldn't make it tonight. Steeler fan is the Bill Swift fan. You know, remember, he loves Bill Swift.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a Bill Swift replay or something.
He loves Bill Swift.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he'll check out a little of this. So, Steeler fan, remember, maybe one day your favorite player of all time, favorite player of all time, Bill Swift. You know, he loves him. I mean,
well, he might come up on the Sunday night game of the week with the '93 season. You know,
you
the Giants.
You got to do a Bill Swift game.
Got to do a Bill Swift game. You know, he'll at least be in the All-Star game if nothing else. You know. He would definitely be in the All-Star game if nothing else. So
Salvador says, "Don't start with me, announcer boy."
Yeah, there you go.
And then Steve Dower, hey, trigger warning for mentioning Bucky effing Dent. Yeah. Hey, you know what? How many World Series have the Red Sox won recently? Okay, how many have my Mets won recently? Okay, you know what? You guys trust me. You guys got more. You guys got more revenge than the Mets ever did. But
yeah, hey, there you go. What are you gonna do? All right, guys. I appreciate everybody tuning in.
Everyone,
and
stay
Robert,
healthy.
hang around. Hang around. We're done because I still want to talk to you some more.
Not a
and
problem.
Everybody else, enjoy playing every game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And Robert and I will see you down the road.